Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. My name is Ben. I'm your host, and today I'm joined with Brandon from the Brandon vs. Movies YouTube channel. We've done lots of commentaries on movies already, and today we're starting up a new series on the Leprechaun movies. We're going to go through them one at a time. There's a whole bunch of them. We're not going to do the clones or anything like that, or we're just going to do the mainline Leprechaun movies. And today we are going to start with number one. So, Leprechaun number one is from 1993. It was written and directed by a fellow named Mark Jones, and it stars one Warwick Davis, the classic quintessential Leprechaun, and one Jennifer Aniston. Can you even believe that? That's crazy. Brandon, why don't you get us started off with this movie?
Yeah, this is a good movie. I don't care what anyone says. This is a fun, good movie. I don't think it's the best in the series, but it started off great. And I think people are shocked when they watch this movie. Oh my God, that's Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't that long before she became mega famous in Friends. Like
yeah.
probably
I think it
5 years.
was later that same year,
Oh,
actually.
maybe it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
or yeah, it was very close. Like she doesn't
Mhm.
look um, that much younger than she did at the beginning of Friends. So
Yeah.
that's kind of shocking. And this movie, this entire series, at least the early ones, are completely ride on Warwick Davis's performance, which is epic and
Yeah.
is
100%.
like he's so entertaining. I think the combination of his acting and the way the leprechaun looks
Yeah.
is the reason that this super cheesy, low budget horror movie got like 7 sequels. Just watching him is so entertaining.
Yeah.
The kills in the first one, the later movies, the kills got pretty damn good. The first one, they were hurting a little bit. They had
Yeah.
limited budget. There was one where he kills a guy by riding a pogo stick, and he's repeatedly jumping on the guy's chest, and then they show the guy's face, and it's covered in blood. So he never touched his face. But they did the best they could with what they had. But overall, the movie it's even better than I remembered. I've probably seen it 3 4 times over the years, but I haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's even better than I remember. Now that I'm gonna pay more attention and kind of look for things to discuss. It's very well done. A lot of the stuff just with them running around the house trying to fend off this leprechaun, it's a very well done movie. There are issues with it, but the movie's so fun. It's even more like cheesy and lowbrow than Chucky movies are, the Child's Play
Yeah.
movies. So you can kind of forgive stuff because it's just like, oh, it's a damn leprechaun movie. What do you expect? But it is more than that. Like it's not just a throwaway crap movie. Like it was well done. They took care in doing it. It was one of like Warwick Davis had done Willow by that point, and he'd done Star Wars or like Return of the Jedi. But this is one of his iconic roles. Like this movie comes up all
Yeah.
the time. What has Warwick Davis done? What's he famous for? Wicket, Willow, and the Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Like
Yeah.
it's there's a reason these movies kind of became as epic as they did, and it's a damn good movie.
I agree 100%. This beginning entry, he doesn't quite have the magic that he discovers as the series goes forward. This leprechaun, the leprechaun in number one, um, can't magically transport himself to anywhere he needs to be, which is what he can do in the later entries in the series. This guy has to get where he needs to go, so he has to transport himself or be transported. So he can't quite do all the things that he can do as the series progresses, but that's fine. That's what happens with all of these things. But like you said, Warwick Davis is the ubiquitous person for the Leprechaun role. No one else has ever come close. All of the clones that have come out since, and they just can't quite recapture that magic. The delivery that he likes to do little rhyming couplets or limericks when he's killing people, and they're just delivered so classic, so perfectly. I mean, no one can compare to this. It's unbelievable how well he does. Like Brandon said, it is a long running series. It goes on and on. People love magical horror. We got movies like Warlock. We got movies like Leprechaun. Um, what's another one like that? It's just cool to see. Freddy Krueger is kind of like that, but it's in nightmares rather than in the real world. But it's fun to not always have to deal with somebody just like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees just cutting people up with a knife or cutting them in half or impaling them on something. It's fun to see something magical and ridiculous. It's fun to see a pot of gold appear in somebody's stomach and then have them burping out gold. That's not in this one. That's the next one. But it's fun to see that kind of stuff sometimes. Just like fantastical things that where you can use your imagination and come up with some really artistic stuff.
You can absolutely have more fun, and it's one of the reasons I like Nightmare on Elm Street. Is like as soon as you break out of the real world, there's so much more you can do. As
Yeah.
soon as you have a magical leprechaun, you're not held back by having it need to be realistic, which makes it more fun. It does add some inconsistencies. They tend to change the rules in these movies, especially with the
Yeah.
first two. It's like he's like he can teleport, then he can't teleport. There's times where he's like chasing people down, but there's other times he can just magically throw chains on them. So
Yeah.
well, if you do that, why not do that all the time? And in the first one, it's all about him trying to get a pot of gold, and as we'll see in the next one, it's like, oh no, it's more about him trying to find his his wife that he's destined to marry or her descendant. So they kind of change a lot of that stuff, but I think people
Yeah.
forgive it just because the movies are just so damn cool.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I don't think that there's been a consistent writing and directing
Yeah,
duo throughout this entire thing. I think it changes every entry. Um, Unlike Child's Play. So the rules do change. Like in the very first one, like Brandon mentioned, can't teleport himself. Seems to be all about getting that gold back, and he'll kill whoever has his gold. In the second one, if you've got his gold, he can't actually kill you? Question mark.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he's weak to iron, which is something new that we hadn't discovered until
Wrought iron. Yeah,
yeah, wrought iron. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. But this one starts off with an old guy coming back from a trip to Ireland, and he's got a bag of gold. And he tells his wife when she says, "Hey, where'd you get this bag of gold from?" He tricked a stupid leprechaun into giving him his gold.
I caught him and made him show me where his gold is. It's the rule, you know.
What a dumb leprechaun, right? Well, guess what? That leprechaun wasn't so dumb after all because he snuck in, he hid inside this guy's suitcase. How? No idea. Leprechaun magic, I guess. But he stowed away in a suitcase, and now he comes out. So now he wants his gold. Hey, I want me gold. I'll play the sound clip of that right now. I have that in my Rolodex of sound effects. I want me gold. Um, so when he's confronted, this dude refuses to give back the gold. So the leprechaun kills his wife, just like outright kills the guy's wife. He has a heart attack, but no, sorry, he manages to trap the leprechaun in a crate, and he puts a four-leaf clover on top of the crate that seems to freeze the leprechaun inside. So it's like in Vampire Time Travelers, like I just covered with Jeff on Bottom of the Barrel, wink wink. Um, if you put a crucifix on a vampire's coffin, they can't get out of the coffin. If you put a four-leaf clover on a leprechaun's crate, they can't get out of the crate and they freeze in there. So this guy's frozen, but then the old man has a stroke, and you think he's dead, but he's not. He's not quite dead actually, but we'll talk about him later. So now it is 10 years later, and Jennifer Aniston and her dad have bought this house. This house has not been touched in 10 years. Can you believe that? Nobody's even tried to get into this house. No squatters, no people who want the stuff. This house is full of stuff. Nobody wants this stuff. It's crazy. What do you think?
yeah. I guess yeah, maybe someone's been taking care of it. I don't know. They don't really explain that, but it's it's basically just a plot device to have new family moves in, go into the basement, and then they discover, oh, there's this crate here, and they
Yeah.
have some kind of side characters. There's the romantic interest,
Yep.
young guy. There's some painters are like working on the house to
Yeah.
like
And
uh,
they are, the painters are the male stripper from the movie Summer School from the 1980s.
oh,
If you ever
no,
watched that movie, the guy who kept falling asleep in class. Did you ever watch Summer
yeah,
School?
I did not.
Really? Oh my God, that's such a good movie. It's actually probably sucks, but I watched it when I was a kid, so I think it's good right now. But there's a really cool. There's two guys, Chainsaw and his friend Marty, maybe I think his name is. These two guys are obsessed with horror, And so they do there's a lot of horror prop work later where they're trying to fool people that's actually pretty cool, like a lot of gory stuff.
Mm.
But that's neither here nor there. So the romantic interest is the male stripper from summer school, and his sidekick is Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, now you
Funny
can continue. Sorry.
guy. Yeah, so there's the love interest guy, and then there's the we'll say low IQ assistant guy, and then
Yeah.
there's like a 10-year-old boy that for some
Yeah.
reason is working for this company.
A smart
Um,
kid full of attitude from the
yeah,
90s. Yeah.
so they're basically there to just fill out the other characters. Of course, the dumb guy goes in the basement, lets the leprechaun out, has an interaction with the leprechaun, and kind of as the trope from that we saw in the Child's Play movies, no one believes him that there was an actual leprechaun there, despite the mounting evidence, until eventually they realize it's real.
Yeah.
So he's trying to prove there's a leprechaun, there's not. However, they go outside and they see a rainbow, and he's like, you know what? There's always a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So him and the young boy go out to find the bottom of the rainbow where they do at this old rusted up truck where they find this bag full of gold. And as soon as they have it, the leprechaun knows they have the gold and he wants to get it.
I
I
want my
want the
gold.
So we do get some deaths. There's a police officer that the leprechaun kills.
Yep.
The boy and the idiot employee take one of the gold coins. They want to find out if it's real, so they take
Yeah.
it into town to this gold dealer guy to see if he's real. And he's like, "Wow, this is old. Like, let me keep it overnight so I can research it."
Yeah.
So the leprechaun tracks him down, and that's the one I was referring to when he kills him with a pogo stick,
Yeah.
and somehow makes his face covered in blood, even though he never touches his face. But we can forgive that.
Yeah, and he also manages to swallow a coin too because he's an idiot. The big
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And naturally, no one's going to believe this guy when he talks about a leprechaun because he is an idiot. Although he's an adult and the 10-year-old boy is smarter than he is. He also manages, like I said, to eat a coin, which is ridiculous, and it'll come back up later. So yeah, the leprechaun kills that shop owner, and then he goes back to the farm in a go-kart. He steals a go-kart and drives it back. It's pretty funny. I like watching him drive that little go-kart.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the leprechaun is going around collecting all the coins that they leave behind and killing all the people who have them for whatever reason. He manages to get them all back except for the one that's in Francis's belly. And so,
Ozzy. Is his name Ozzy?
yeah, his name is Ozzy, but I call him Francis because he's from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, okay.
But hold on. Oh yeah, first before all that happens, the leprechaun bites the dad's hand. And so he has to go to the hospital. And so they're all at the hospital, and the leprechaun is going around town trying to. Well, that's when those other two went to go do the coin thing. When the old guy's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just getting things straight there, everybody, because I was lost in my own notes here. So eventually he gets back all the coins except the one in Francis's belly, or we'll call him Ozzy's belly. So they have to figure out how to defeat this thing because the friends don't want to make the call that, yeah, you can go and tear open our friend's guts and get the coin out because he's pretty stupid anyway, so you can just go ahead and do that. They're better people than that. So they need to figure out a way to defeat this thing. But it turns out Old Man O'Grady, the old guy who brought the leprechaun back with him from Ireland in the first place, he is still alive and he's in the retirement home. So they head out there to ask Old Man Grady, how do you defeat a leprechaun? And how do you defeat a leprechaun, Brandon?
4-leaf clover.
You use a four-leaf clover, and guess what, everybody? Four-leaf clovers just happen to grow on this farm. Can you believe it? They're growing at the
Clovers
farm.
grow on there. They have to search them and pick through them to find the 4-leaf one.
But there are four-leaf clovers in that clover patch. He swears to God. So they do eventually find one too, but not before the leprechaun kills the old guy. I think he throws him down an elevator shaft or something like that.
Yeah, you don't see it happen. You just see
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston go to talk to the old man, and she walks into the room,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there facing the window in his wheelchair. You see him from behind. The second you do, you know it's the leprechaun. She
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So the guy starts talking, and then she's like, "Something's wrong here," and all of a sudden turns around, it's the leprechaun. She runs away, and then in the elevator, the hatch in the top of the elevator opens, and then this she sees the real guy. He's in
Yeah.
there dead because at some point the leprechaun had killed him.
Yeah. Leprechauns do that. And this is the first time he does that trick where he imitates the people's voices. And that's something that he'll do throughout the entire series after
Yeah,
that. He's a little tricky trickster, that leprechaun. Um, Luckily, as we mentioned, four-leaf clovers grow on the farm, and they manage to find one. And Jennifer Aniston um, takes one, wraps it up in a piece of bubble gum that she's chewed up, and shoots it into into the leprechaun's mouth, and it makes him melt. And I thought that effect was pretty cool that they
yeah.
did.
I think they spent like their entire budget for that effect. Because
Yeah,
some of the effects earlier on were a little bit low budget, which is fine. But that
yeah,
one, it's like holy shit, yeah, they went all out on that.
yeah. And that's about the size of that movie. I mean, not a lot happens. There's a lot of goofy fun. There's some kills. Like Brandon mentioned, I think they blew the whole budget on making that leprechaun melt at the end. But Warwick Davis was money well spent on this series. There wouldn't have been a second one without him, I don't think.
Yeah,
It's his most iconic role, in my opinion, even more so than Wicket, because you can actually hear him talk and he can show his personality through and not just be like a furry cute guy. Even more so than Willow as well, because I don't know, Willow was good, but he wasn't my favorite. I don't know,
I
Willow was
I
good.
loved Willow. We can
Yeah,
talk about that another time.
Willow
um,
was one of the first Nintendo games I owned. Did I ever say
oh,
that before? Pretty neat. But yeah,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
there are other movies like this. Like there's like Hobgoblin movies and
Yeah,
Rumpelstiltskin movies that never got sequel, or like they weren't on the same level. And it comes down
yeah.
to Warwick Davis. There
Same with
are
Troll.
things.
Troll never really got a true sequel. It just got that Italian one that was funny.
Troll 2. They there were things that like comes back to the changing mythology from the Leprechaun movies from one to the
Yeah.
next. They have a part in this that plays a fairly big role that the Leprechaun is obsessed with shining shoes. So if he sees shoes, he has to shine them. So at one part, they're trying to distract him so they can get away. So they go and they just start throwing a whole bunch of shoes. And he's compelled. He's like, oh, I want to kill these people, but he's compelled to run after the shoes and shine them one by one. And they just
Huh.
keep throwing more and more shoes as they hop in the truck and get away. And by the time of the next movie, they never bring that up again. I don't know if they ever do in the rest of the series. I can't
I don't
remember.
know. I forgot that even happened.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just change that rule or forget about it or whatever. But it was an odd addition.
The rules change so many times. He eventually goes to space and he hangs out and he smokes a bong with iced tea. So
Yeah, it's we'll get into those. Let's not
we'll
get
get
ahead of
into those
ourselves.
as we go. Yeah. So what do you think of this one overall?
I think it's great. Like you said, like not a lot happens. You can tell they had a lower budget. They couldn't
Mhm.
have as many kills as they wanted. There was a lot of, I would say, filler, like just stuff of the main characters doing things that don't involve dealing with Leprechaun and the kills.
Mhm.
But luckily, just between the acting and the writing, like it was fun enough that there was no like some of the even the Child's Play movies. There was some boring parts, and then there'd be a good part, and then more boring parts, and then a good part.
Yeah.
This one, even the filler kind of stuff, it kept the story going, and it was like it was fairly well done. So overall, I'd give it like 6.5, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, I'm fairly certain that if Jennifer Aniston hadn't hit it huge with Friends, there would never have been a sequel to this movie. Just like if they hadn't picked Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun, there would definitely not have been a second movie. I believe this one did fairly poorly in the theaters initially, but yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10 overall. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The next one is I don't know. We'll talk about that one next time. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of Leprechaun, the very first Leprechaun starring Warwick Davis and Jennifer Aniston. And I hope you enjoyed listening to us talk. And please remember to subscribe to Brandon's channel, Brandon versus Movies, and subscribe to my channel. You're already here. You can click on the subscribe button. It takes 1 second to subscribe to both of us at the same time, and it costs you $0. So please go ahead and subscribe for more conversations like this, and we'll see you next time. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. My name is Ben, I'm your host, and I'm back here with Brandon from Brandon vs. Movies. We've done lots of film analysis before, and we are continuing on with our exploration of the Leprechaun series. We are doing Leprechaun 2 today from 1994, directed by a guy with a very funny name, Rodman Flender. I've never heard of him before, but in the UK, this one actually has a different name. It's called One Wedding and Lots of Funerals. That's interesting, don't you think? That they gave
Yeah,
it a
I
different
read
name in the
that.
UK?
It's a funny name, but it's like, why not? So it's the sequel to Leprechaun. Call it Leprechaun 2.
Yeah,
Although um, Four Weddings and a Funeral was a famous British movie from that
yeah,
era, so they just decided to do a play on that. But
I
yeah,
guess so.
interesting
Pretty
title.
funny either way. But Brandon, why don't you get us started on Leprechaun 2?
So Leprechaun 2 is, I haven't seen these movies. It's probably been 15 years since I've actually watched all of them. But growing up, when I watched them multiple times, part two was always my favorite. I actually like it better. And even rewatching them now, I liked it better than the first one. As we go through the series, we'll see if it still stands up as my favorite. But I liked it better than the first one. They changed tactic. The first one was the leprechaun's gold was stolen. He wants his gold back. Now it opens with a scene in ancient Ireland, like 1,000 years ago,
Yeah,
and the leprechaun has like a slave guy with him, and he intends to marry this slave's daughter. Of course, the slave doesn't want that to happen, so he sabotages the whole thing, and the leprechaun basically goes dormant for 1,000 years with swearing that when he comes back, he's going to find this young woman's ancestor and marry them.
yeah.
So the whole point is, and I don't quite understand. Somehow he's now in America. Um,
Oh, I can tell you that.
yeah.
So Harry Houdini, the famous illusionist slash escape artist, had an ancient tree from Kilcarney, Ireland, transplanted and brought to his mansion to his front yard. And it just so happens that this particular tree from Kilcarney, Ireland, is the portal that opens up into the Leprechaun's labyrinth den.
Okay, so there you
Yeah,
go. So
there you go. That's how it
it
happened.
just happened that this tree happened to wind up in the exact same town where this descendant 1,000 years ago from Ireland happened to live. Like, okay, if you get over that ridiculous premise, the movie is a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So he tracks this young woman down, and shenanigans ensue. And then, of course, there's also the they steal his gold type stuff going on. What's interesting about this movie is that they apparently filmed an entire movie, and it was very different. There's a main couple in this, and there's like a love interest guy, and they
hmm
do touch on that a little bit, the whole love triangle thing. Apparently, in the original one, they were trying to really aim this at teenagers, so the whole thing was this teenage love story. I guess the studio watched it, they hated it, and they basically reshot like 75% of the movie. They
Oh
got
wow.
rid of that storyline with a lot of trying on the teenagers, and they replaced it with the main teenager and his uncle running the creepy horror tour
Yeah.
thing. So originally the movie was supposed to be completely different. Then they rewrote it, reshot it, jumbled everything together. So the story is a little bit disjointed. But what they turned out with, I actually like it. Um, it it's fun. They had a bigger budget, more stuff happens. There's more kills, more locations. It seemed like a step up from the first one. What did you think?
I thought it was a little bit step down. I thought it was really good. You'll hear my review. You'll hear my rating at the end. It was still a good movie. But it's definitely not my favorite one. I like the first one a little bit more than this one. Uh, they got a little bit fast and loose with the rules, but that's something that's going to continue. And the next one, I think, blows this one out of the water. But because the next one is just insanity. But um, like Brandon said, the leprechaun now lives in Los Angeles in a tree, and it's his thousandth birthday. And as his next thousandth birthday pops up, it just so happens that Cody, the main kid, and this girl Bridget, who is the descendant, the most attractive female descendant of this slave in the past 1,000 years, happen to be going past this house, and that wakes that just happens to wake the guy up. He smells this girl. He smells his prey in the area, and his little leprechaun boner wakes him up, and he decides that he's going to go get his prize. And luckily, also, it's St. Patrick's Day. So on St. Patrick, maybe that was on purpose that his birthday is on St. Patrick's Day because he's a leprechaun. Maybe all leprechauns. Oh, here's another question. Is this the same leprechaun from the first movie or a different leprechaun and they all just look the same?
It's hard to say. My opinion, it's the exact same one.
Yeah.
However, when we get to part 4 in space,
Yeah.
it looks like the exact leprechaun, played by the same actor, talks the same, but it's clearly not because he's not even really a leprechaun. He's like an alien from another planet. So it's
Yeah.
obviously a different entity.
I
So
wonder
my
if the
thoughts is it's the same one.
Okay. Because if it were, this guy woke up in the 90s in Jennifer Aniston's house. So he wouldn't be.
There is, yeah. I guess
Yeah.
now that you mention it,
I think
that
they might just be different leprechauns and they all look and sound the same.
that could be, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mention
Or
it,
maybe
yeah,
they are all aliens and they explained it in the fourth one. Who knows?
yeah. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe this is like a prequel to
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. So, the wakes the leprechaun up. It's St. Patrick's Day, so a leprechaun can walk the streets of Los Angeles and no one bats an eye because it's St. Patrick's Day. So he's just walking around like it's nothing, and nobody even questions him. It's all good. Um, Bridget and Cody go to the racetrack to hang out with a guy named Ian, and this must be the love triangle bit.
Yeah.
This Ian guy, because Cody and Bridget have a fight, and Cody takes off because he has to go work with his uncle on doing the tour, and Ian and Bridget stay around. Then Ian tries to get in Bridget's pants, but she says no. She pushes him away because she still feels for Cody. She doesn't want to mess things up with him. Um, and then comes probably my favorite part in this movie, which is when Bridget calls Ian from the other room to come and join her, and she's there with the guns out. She's got her boobs out, and she wants him to come and give him a kiss or give her a kiss, but it's the leprechaun doing the voice of Bridget, and Bridget is actually a lawnmower, so he kisses a lawnmower that's on.
I think it's like a fan, isn't it? Some kind of fan
Something
with a
with a
cover.
spinning blade. I thought it was a
Yeah.
lawnmower. Maybe it's something
Oh,
else. Maybe it's a whippersnapper or something. But either way, this thing's got a spinning blade, and he just sticks his face right in it, which is probably one of the funnier. It's probably the funniest one in this movie.
yeah, that part was great. This one has a lot of, I would say a lot of good kills, but like the one you mentioned
Yeah,
in the last review where the uncle gets greedy and wants he wants the leprechaun's gold, so he wishes for more gold. So the leprechaun gives it to him, but the gold appears in his stomach. So all of a
yeah,
sudden he has this big distended stomach. He's like, "Get it out of me! Get it out of me!" And leprechaun's like, "Okay," rips his stomach open
yeah.
and takes the gold out. Yeah, so like, it's got some good kills. They had a bit more money for a bit more of a higher budget to do the kills and a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that the uncle is actually played by the same guy. I don't know his name, but in Seinfeld, he played Jack Klumpus, who, whenever Jerry would go to Florida to visit his parents,
Oh,
this
okay.
Jack Klumpus guy was one of the other guys there that the guy was interacting with. That's where I know him from.
One of the old
And he
guys.
kind of
Okay.
stole the show. I could see why the producers were like, all this other stuff you shot with the teenagers not so interesting,
Yeah.
but this like old guy playing the drunken uncle was actually kind of amusing, so they put him in it more.
Yeah, he kind of felt
Um,
like one of those old Hollywood guys. And this one
yeah,
is like they definitely did have a bigger budget. The fact that they shot it in Los Angeles and Hollywood, it shows that probably cost a pretty penny to be able to
yeah,
even film there. Plus the effects that they did for this one too. A little bit later on, they go the Cody and Bridget. Cody Bridget gets stolen by the leprechaun, and Cody goes into his lair to try and find him. And that part was pretty cool too, like the way that they did his little maze of a lair. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. They try more with this. I wouldn't say it's high budget, but
Yeah,
they had more to work with, so you could just have more cool stuff. And they added some other elements, some magical things that weren't in there before. They got rid
yeah,
of the whole if the leprechaun sees a pair of shoes, he has to polish them. They got
yeah.
rid of that, but also they added in, oh, if he touches wrought iron, he's gets burned, so you
You get
instantly know that that's going to come into play later. There are some good parts. There's a part at a bar, which is weird because this bar is full. Um, I don't want to use the wrong term, so we'll say little people.
yeah.
Um, the bar is full of like little people. I don't think St. Patrick's Day is a time of year where you see more little people than you do on any other day.
No, I've been around for nearly 50 years, and I don't think I've seen more dwarves on St. Patrick's Day than other days.
Yeah, but there is probably like 10 of them in this one bar, all dressed as leprechauns. So, which I don't think is a thing, but whatever. For this movie, it is. And it also brings up the question. Of course, that leads. It's like, oh, the real leprechaun can blend himself in because
Yeah,
he's one of many. But this leprechaun, the main one, does not look human. No one seems to notice that this thing is not human.
yeah,
It's either a guy in some very good makeup, but it's not like a mask because his lips are moving. No one seems to notice what the hell is this thing. It's not a human.
yeah.
But anyways, it's in a bar, and it's one of my favorite parts that I always remember from that movie where the main guy goes to the bathroom. The young guy comes back out, sits with his uncle, and his uncle's staring at something. And he's like what's wrong? What are you staring at? And the uncle's like,
He's here.
and then they show what he's looking at, and you see there's a bunch of people at the bar, but the leprechaun's just sitting at the end of the bar, glaring at them and sipping a drink. Um, and then the uncle challenges the leprechaun to a
Yeah,
drinking
to a
contest.
drinking contest that the leprechaun loses. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that. Like you got to figure this is a magical guy who's all about like beer and clover and St. Patrick's Day. He's never gonna beat more. He's never gonna lose to Morty in a drinking contest, but he does.
They even have a slight at there's a part where the leprechaun comes out of the tree and he finds this hobo there and he grabs the hobo's bottle of alcohol, takes a swig of it, and then he spits it out and he's like Canadian Canadian what was it, whiskey or
Rye? Is it rye?
Splendid Canadian. The only whiskey is Irish whiskey. Ah.
whatever it was, some sort of
Yeah,
Canadian drink, and he's like, disgusting. He's like, the only kind is the Irish kind.
yeah,
Um, and there, these movies, they're just so fun. Like there's so many the drinking contest. There's even a part where he rips the hobo's tooth out because he has like a gold tooth.
yeah.
There's a part where some like Hollywood casting agent sees him on the street and is like, "Oh, hey, good costume, buddy. Here's my card if you want representation." And then he just like sees the guy's gold ring and like rips his finger off. There's a lot of parts like that where they can just do um, so much cool stuff.
They did introduce a strange rule in this one that doesn't seem to be consistent even within the same movie. For whatever reason, the leprechaun doesn't seem to be able to harm Cody because he has his gold. But Morty had his gold in his belly and he was able to cut that out. He was able to harm Morty. So I don't understand how that rule works.
I'm thinking it's because and that's another thing that doesn't make sense is that Morty they captured the leprechaun inside a wrought iron safe. They trick
Yes.
him into it, so it's like he's caught in a safe. But Morty gets greedy and he's like, "Oh, leprechauns have to give you 3 wishes," which, as far as I know, is not a thing.
No, that's a genie thing.
Yeah, but and I guess it does work that like the leprechaun doesn't have to give him 3 wishes, but he plays along with it to
Mm,
escape. So it's possible that the gold that appears in Morty wasn't the leprechaun's gold; it
okay.
was some other gold. Maybe that's the
Or it
way
was
they
fake gold or something. I don't know,
or it's
maybe.
fake, but yeah, it does. They never bring that up again. But it kind of defeats the purpose. Like the whole point of the movie is you steal his gold, he kills you for it. But
Yeah,
if he can't kill you if you have his gold, like the movie doesn't work. So yeah, they kind of I
yeah.
guess they abandoned that in future episodes because it was
Yeah, because
kind
it
of
doesn't
weird.
make sense. It
I
was
think they
a
just
dumb
needed
plot device.
Yeah, it's just, oh shit, what's the reason the leprechaun doesn't kill him here? Oh, how about he can't kill you if you have his gold? Done. And they didn't really think about the consequences of that rule.
Yeah, they invoked that rule when they did a fake out at the end. So when the leprechaun finally has Cody and he believes he's killed Cody, but no, he can't actually harm Cody because Cody has his gold, and so Cody gets him with a wrought iron spike, and that kills the leprechaun in this situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was a rule of convenience this time.
and I did that ending because part of me, because basically the leprechaun pretends to be the love interest, the girl,
Yeah.
Bridget, looks like her, and it's like, oh, like come here and I'll give you a kiss, and she's like, by the way, do you have that gold coin? And it's like, just give it to me. And it's so obvious that it's not her, it's the leprechaun pretending to be her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the guy like turns over the coin. I was like, no, come on, like what an idiot. But luckily they redeemed themselves that he knew it was a leprechaun and he gave him a fake gold coin that he got
There's a
earlier.
chocolate one. Oh
Piece of
boy.
chocolate that somehow the leprechaun didn't know that this wasn't real gold. And then and then he stabs him with the wrought iron spike. And then the movie just ends abruptly. And apparently they had like a different ending. I can't remember what it was, but you can read about it on IMDb.
Okay.
Because they're in the leprechaun's lair inside this tree, and
Hmm.
then Bridget and Cody get out, and you see them walking. It looks like a cool, like they're in like a cemetery or something. It's like this
Yeah.
cool shot, and you see them walking, and then it just ends like credits. It just seems like something was going to happen there. Like they had this set up with this cool looking set,
Hmm.
and then for whatever reason they just ended it. It's like, oh, okay, that was weird, but
But it didn't say anywhere what was supposed to happen?
I can't. I think they did on IMDb. I just can't
Okay.
remember what it is
Yeah, I'll
on the
look it
top of
up
my
after.
head. But
Look it
um,
up, folks. You can see what was supposed to happen there. Maybe
yeah,
they
so
ran out of money.
it was originally going to be a different movie, and then
Yeah.
they just reshot most of it. Which, from how they describe it, I think it was the best choice because I think they were trying to make it like a teen romance with
Yeah.
Leprechaun involved, which probably would have been pretty crappy. So I'm glad they. I like the whole thing. I like the uncle. He was
Yeah.
kind of a funny character. It just added to it, and they had a like bit of the teen stuff in there, but not too much. And overall, I just found it like I'd say it's very close in quality to the first one.
Yeah.
I just liked it that there was more kills. There was just more stuff happening, so I liked it in that respect.
Okay. So what
And we
would you
also
give it
oh,
overall? Sorry?
before we get into our rating,
Yeah.
we did have a appearance by Mike McDonald from Mad TV.
I missed
Um,
that.
remember he was the bartender guy. Remember, and he like
Okay.
he's
Look what
like
I
looks
can do.
super young, and yeah,
Yeah.
and he was also Little John or Big John in the Halloween Kills movie.
He was Little John, yeah.
Little John.
Yeah.
Yeah, the leprechaun. Remember, it's after the bar scene, after the drinking contest, and then
Yeah.
the leprechaun's the only guy in this bar, and he's sitting there, and then Mike McDonald's like, "Buddy, like we're closing, get the hell out of here!" And
Yeah.
Leprechaun starts threatening him, and of course he doesn't. He's Mike McDonald's like taunting him, and then the leprechaun kills him by like blasting steam in his face and melting his face.
Oh, okay. I do remember that.
Yeah,
This probably would have been at his height of Mad TV as well, in 1994, 1995 time.
yeah, it would have been right around. Yeah, right around the same time.
Yeah. Um, One thing that I never understood as well is why walk around Los Angeles looking like a leprechaun when you can make yourself look like anybody and sound like anybody? He could have just been
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, he could have been drawing this attention, unless maybe it takes a lot of effort and energy to fake being someone that
Yeah.
you can't do it for too long.
Or maybe he can only fool one person. Maybe that magic works on one person. Because
There we go.
what we've seen previous, like he fooled Ian into thinking he was Bridget, and then he fooled Cody into thinking he was Bridget, but nobody else was there to see it.
Yeah,
So,
that actually makes sense.
yeah.
That's probably how they just make up their rules as they go, and it's like,
Yeah.
how about this? Yeah, that's good enough. Or whatever we need to make the story happen, and just throw any sort of consistency out the window.
Back at this point in history, they didn't have to worry about guys like us on the internet overanalyzing everything because
Yeah,
this didn't exist back then.
yeah.
So what did you give that one overall, would you say?
I would give it. I'd say 7.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're flip-flop this time because the last time I gave it 7 and you gave it 6, and this time you give it 7 and Wait, last time I gave it 7, you gave it 6. This time you're giving it 6 and I'm giving it 7.
Okay.
Nope, nope, nope. I flipped it back again. I'm keeping this in too because this is where I get ridiculous when. Okay. This time you're giving it a 7 and I'm giving it a 6. So we flip-flopped our scores from the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my favorite one in the whole series is the very next one. So,
I'll have to revisit. I think this might be the one I've seen the least. I've only seen it once or maybe twice.
okay.
I have mixed. All I remember is what I remember of it when I was like 18.
Okay.
It's been a long time, so I have to. I remember thinking it was okay, but I'm basically going to it fresh. I'm gonna reassess it, give it a chance, and we'll see. I might end up liking it as even better in part two.
For the folks at home, the first two Leprechaun movies don't really have a theme other than a leprechaun. Every movie after this one has a theme, and number 3 is Vegas. Number 4 is space, and number 5, I believe, is in the hood.
Number
So,
6 is also in the hood.
oh wait, yeah, okay.
Back to the
So,
hood.
yeah, back in this, yeah. There's themes after this one, and the next one is Vegas, and it's a lot of fun. It's crazy, and there are even more ridiculous rules that get added into things that completely contradict things that happened in the previous movies in the next one. So have fun, everybody. So, this brings us to the end of our discussion of Leprechaun 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to our channels. You can click this, click the subscribe button at the bottom of the video, at the bottom of the screen, and you can subscribe to both of our channels at the same time. The buttons will appear right next to each other. You can do it in a second. It costs you $0. So please subscribe to our channels, come back and join us for more talk about Leprechaun and lots of other movies. If you look through our back catalogs, both on Brandon's channel and my channel, we've got lots of stuff for you to enjoy. So please go ahead and do that, and we'll see you next time. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. I'm back with Brandon from Brandon vs. Movies, the YouTube channel where the two of us will periodically, well, quite often, do some film analysis, and we've done several big horror franchises together. And right now on my channel, we're doing the Leprechaun series. And if you've seen the first two, great. If you haven't seen the first two, go back and watch them. Today, we're going to be doing Leprechaun 3. And Leprechaun 3 is a special leprechaun because it's my favorite leprechaun in the whole series, to be perfectly honest. What do you think, Brandon?
Leprechaun 3, I see it as a lot. It's a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
I see it on a lot of favorite lists. It's not my favorite. It
Nope.
is good. It's enjoyable. I like it quite a bit. It would be among my top ones, probably in the top 3 or 4. Definitely like the top half. My issues with it are the pacing, and I get what they were trying to do because they know, like everyone knows, the best parts of these movies are when the leprechaun is doing stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever we cut to something else, it's not as good, and you're basically waiting for the leprechaun to come back and do his thing. But I think as Warwick Davis got more famous and started asking more money, I assumed that they had him for fewer days because it seems like they're pulling every trick in the book to spread out the amount of leprechaun stuff. And this one, it seemed like the story, it was fun, but it was just disjointed. Like there was things in the pawn shop where the leprechaun would show up, but then he would like leave, but then he would come back and torture the guy some more, and then he would
Yeah.
leave again. And it just seemed like they were making it up as they were going, and they should have had a tighter script, and they would spread out. There's a scene where he's beating the pawn shop owner, and he would beat him, maybe 15 seconds or 30 seconds, but then they'd cut back to the casino and have the other characters doing stuff, and
Yeah.
then they would cut back to the pawn shop, like they were trying to spread him out to look like he was in more of the movie when he really wasn't. And once you start paying attention to that, and it's weird. It seemed like the first two had a more like a tighter story. It's just this event leads
Yeah.
to this event. Now it's kind of like there's stuff going on. There's like a mob guy and his enforcer that are trying to get money from the casino owner, and then that story kind of goes away, and then it comes back, and then there's like a magician. There's all these like way too many storylines, and none of them really get fleshed out, and then things drag on, and then it's a very weird way of storytelling. If you're watching it purely from Leprechaun sometimes kills people and does says funny things, there's a lot of enjoyment here, and it's a decent, fun movie. But to me, it's not my favorite. It just seems like they rushed the script and they kind of just cobbled together a bunch of stuff they shot into something resembling a story. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I can see that too. This one was the first of two that were directed by a fellow named Brian Trenchard Smith. He's the longest running Leprechaun director in having directed two entries. Nobody else has directed two. He's the only one. It was filmed in 14 days total. They went real fast. They could only get on, they had to do the Las Vegas Strip stuff guerrilla style because they weren't allowed to film. They couldn't get permits. And so they had to be real careful. This is Warwick Davis's favorite movie in the series as well.
Oh,
He's gone on record and said. Only one night was spent shooting in Vegas without permits. It was the first direct-to-video Leprechaun movie. All of the first two had theatrical releases, and then this is going to be the beginning of the straight-to-video Leprechauns. There weren't any more in the theater I don't believe that any more of them were in the theater. Um, Leprechaun 3 was also filmed non-union, if that means anything to the film buffs out there. Yeah, it's interesting. It takes place in Vegas, so this one has a Vegas theme. It has more rules introduced. So forget all the rules that we knew before about shining shoes and about four-leaf clovers and about cast iron and about everything else that we've learned to this point. We've got new rules because the leprechaun is introduced to us this time in the form of a statue. So he's a jade statue of a leprechaun with a medallion on it. And this old man runs into a pawn shop, the pawn shop that Brandon was talking about before, and he wants to sell the pawn shop owner this statue. And he'll take 20 bucks for it. He'll take anything. This guy's in bad shape too. Like it looks like he's missing a hand and missing an eye and it looks like he's been to war and back.
He's a good luck charm.
Yes, I can see it's working very well.
But so he'll take whatever he can. He drops this statue off and warns the pawn shop owner not to touch the medallion. So what does the pawn shop owner do first? He takes that medallion right off. And that is the beginning of the end of that guy. But yeah, like Brandon said, this fellow survives his encounter with the leprechaun longer than most. He keeps going for a while. Luckily for this guy, he has a CD-ROM handy that has all of the rules of leprechauns on it. Just happens to be kicking around a store. Looking at
yeah,
that
thank
thing
God
was
he
a
had that
blast.
sitting on top of his desk.
Yeah, it was on the top of his desk, and it was a blast from the past. Looking at that CD-ROM, right? It's like back in high school, looking at those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's funny too how the old man that brings the leprechaun in,
yeah,
how he says he's like, I just need enough, I'll take whatever. I just need enough money to get out of Vegas. And then
yeah.
the guy's like, how about 20 bucks? He's like, okay. Like how far is that gonna is that gonna get you 8-block cab ride? Like how far is 20 bucks gonna get you to leave the city?
It's not going to get you anywhere with these gas prices these days. Holy, right? So the first thing the guy does is take off the medallion. Leprechaun comes to life, and he starts torturing this guy because he wants his gold. Meanwhile, the pawn shop owner has hidden the gold in a safe. It was a safe, right? Just like a regular safe.
I got confused because I think he hit it, but then the leprechaun came back and got it. But
Yeah,
then he dropped a coin, and then so the pawn shop owner
right.
kept the coin. So the leprechaun came back. It was kind of
It was a bit confusing.
confusing.
So there was one coin that was left over, and the spot where he hid the gold, was it in the same pawn shop or was it a nearby pawn shop? Because it was a different area within the pawn shop. Seems like a very big pawn shop, if you ask me.
Yeah, it must have been a back room or something because they established several times that it's right across the street from the casino. That's how they're going back and forth, and then
Yeah.
later on they have to return to the pawn shop to get information or whatever, and it's right across the street. So I'm guessing it's the same one.
So the meanwhile story, we get we're introduced to our two heroes of this movie. We got a guy named Scott. He's a mousy looking guy. He's got a bit of a rat face, if you ask me. He's a bit of an odd looking fellow, but he's our hero. and he stops his car to help a woman by the side of the road. And this woman's name is Tammy, and she is a magician's assistant at the Lucky Shamrock Casino. She's an assistant to the great Fazio, who is not a great magician. And this guy, the guy who plays Fazio, does all sorts of anime and video game voice work. So he's still working. He does quite a bit of stuff. But Tammy, the woman that plays Tammy, this was the last movie she was ever in. And then she dropped out of acting completely. And she went to go be an intern for Howard Stern, which is interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, it's weird, right? So, Scott, Tammy's having some motor trouble. Scott offers to drive her to work, and she works at the casino, as I mentioned. And Scott is some hayseed hillbilly hick who is going off. He's taken all this money that he's been given by his grandfather or one of his relatives so that he can go to school in Los Angeles. He wants to go to school. And he drops her off at the casino, and he really wants to go in and see a casino. Like like it's the only thing that he wants to see in his life. It's very strange. He just wants to see it. He's underage, so he tries to convince Tammy to sneak him in. She will sneak him in on one rule, one caveat: no gambling. And so guess what he does, everybody? He gambles his entire money away. He gambles his entire school tuition check away. And one of it's funny because one of the person that he loses the money to at the craps table, or no, it's the roulette table, which is the stupidest thing to bet on in the history of the universe. Don't never bet on roulette. That's very dumb. Um, the person running the roulette table was the lady who played Legs in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2,
Oh,
who also was in Hatchet as the sheriff's wife, ex-wife, the reporter lady. Name's Caroline Williams, and yeah, she played a table operator named Loretta. And all of these people, every single person that we've met so far, and we're also about to meet the owner of the casino, who's kind of like a heavy-set older guy who's a pretty like a terrible lech. Like this is another one of these movies that Brandon and I have trouble with sometimes because everybody's gross. Everybody's just nasty and gross and wanting to get in each other's pants and for no reason at all, right? What do you think of these characters?
yeah, they're like, and honestly, like I don't expect a lot from a Leprechaun movie, so I could forgive them. But, but yeah, it's like every character. It's like the casino owner is just disgusting, and then the female assistant or whatever, like she's
Yeah,
disgusting too. But so is the magician. Like
yeah,
they're all just like horrible people. And I get it that you're setting them up there, but you know they're eventually going to get killed by the leprechaun,
yeah,
and maybe the filmmakers want you to get some satisfaction out of that. The thing is, like in the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street movies, they had their fodder, just the young people that are there to get killed. You get the odd one that was kind of gross like that, but for the most part, they were more normal. Like they were, for the most part, good, normal people. They
yeah,
didn't make every one of them a huge sleaze bag, and every female's just disgusting and gross. They don't do that. I think if they this in some writers' minds or directors' minds, they just think that that's funny,
yeah.
and it's like it can be funny to have one character like that once in a while, but not every character like that in every movie.
Yeah,
And
it's like that How I Met Your Mother show, right? You've got the one Barney Stinson, and everybody else is kind of normal. Like nobody else is super ridiculous horny, and that's their only character trait. Just the
yeah,
one guy, and that made it funnier.
yeah. So they introduce all these characters, and I think I just wanted a more like streamlined story.
Mhm.
I just wanted it to revolve around mainly the leprechaun and trying to get his gold. But then there's like all these offshoot stories with like secondary characters, and like the casino owner himself was a secondary character.
Yeah,
But then they have to have another story where he owes these two guys money, and they keep coming back and threatening them, and then it kind of goes away for a bit until they need another scene to cut away from the leprechaun. All of a sudden they're back, and it's like we already have two main characters. It should be around them, and then the main girl Tammy, she has her business going on with the magician guy, and they have
yeah,
their own story. There's just so many subplots going on that it took away, and you brought up like the medallion. They added in some new
Mhm.
elements. The medallion being one, and apparently, if you put this medallion around the leprechaun's neck, he
Yeah,
turns to stone. We haven't seen that before. They also added something. They hinted at it in part two about the wishes.
yeah,
It's hard to tell in part two because the uncle in part two he makes a wish, and then the leprechaun puts the gold inside of him to kill him.
yeah.
So I don't know if that was the wish coming true or the leprechaun was pretending and just uses magic to kill him. But now, if you hold the leprechaun's coin,
Yeah.
you can have wishes. I don't know if it's like unlimited wishes. Do they? I can't remember if they said or not. Or
I think it's only one wish at a time, and
okay,
it's as long as you have it, as long as you have the thing, because Fazio tried to make more than one.
yeah. So they have this coin. So people start wishing for stuff. The
Yeah.
main guy, he wishes that he did not lose all his money in the casino and that he was on a winning streak. And all of a sudden, he just magically appears back at the table and he's won all this money. So they have that going on. But they also introduce a new element: is that the leprechaun, when he bites you, you get infected and you basically become a leprechaun
Yeah.
with a full Irish accent, kind of like some kind of weird zombie kind of thing, which was pretty stupid when you think about it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's fine. It could be make for an enjoyable movie, but it's just we've never heard that before. Now all of a sudden the old rules are out the window, and now there's new rules.
Well, I think that the reason why the bite thing works is it's only if he bites you and then his blood gets into it. Because there's in the tussle between the leprechaun and Scott, when Scott is on his winning streak all of a sudden because he's made this wish with this coin, the leprechaun hides out in some food delivery, like some room service, and then he gives Scott a big old bite. But then Scott pokes his eye out with an iron or with something. I don't know what it was, some sort of sharp object. And then the leprechaun's green blood gets into the bite wound, and that's when he starts turning. So maybe that's the catalyst. Is it's
Okay.
like a vampire thing, like when you take in some of their blood, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Kind of.
Yeah. But so they work through all of these side characters that have these weird vices, as well as our main character who has a gambling addiction, apparently. Um, and all of them get their hands on the coin at some point and get to make a wish. And the wish is their undoing. Every single person. The first one to get got by the coin is, I believe, the big boss, the casino boss. He gets his hand on this coin and he makes a wish that Tammy wanted him sexually. And so there was a very creepy scene where she goes up and she's talking baby talk to him and she's doing a striptease dance and all that sort of business. And then while that's happening, um, the Loretta, the table operator, steals the coin from him. So now all of a sudden the coin isn't his any longer, and so Tammy comes back to her consciousness because that coin, as soon as it goes, your wish is done. As soon as somebody else has it. So she is upset and she runs away. But first of all, he talks about giving her his heat-seeking moisture missile, which I thought was very funny because the only time I've ever heard a penis described as a heat-seeking moisture missile before is in the song Death Pod by Gwar, because Death Pod comes from the sky. But it could have come from somewhere else. I mean, Dave Brockie could have got it from somewhere else too. Who knows?
Yeah, it's either that's a reference from something we're not aware of, or that's one hell of a coincidence that two people right around the same time came up with that specific reference.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I liked it. Like, I mean, Death Pod's been stuck in my head for 30 years, so it was fun to hear him say that. I never put it together before. Loretta is the next person to have the coin, and Loretta wants to be a hottie more than anything because Caroline Williams is not she was not a bad-looking woman at that point. They made her up to look older and give her saggy boobs and a weird butt and all that kind of stuff. And then once she made her wish, they took off all the makeup and it was just her normally, and she was walking around being super hot. And everybody wanted to be with her, and until the coin gets stolen from her too by Fazio. So the next person gets the coin. But the leprechaun always too. Oh, sorry, I should probably describe how the big boss got killed, right?
Do it.
And I didn't describe that. The big boss, after Tammy leaves, the leprechaun, who's always 2 seconds behind his coin, he's always just like 2 seconds. If he had gotten there 2 seconds earlier, he would have got it. Um, he makes a naked booby lady appear in the television and start talking to this guy directly. And he's all revved up and ready to go. So he's talking back to the TV like it's a real thing. And then she finally comes through the TV and she starts grinding around on him on the bed. While this is happening, Warwick Davis is having lots of fun playing all sorts of different characters on the television doing fake commercials. It's pretty funny. Uh, and then she all of a sudden is a robot and she electrocutes him by his ding dong. So, yeah, pretty funny. I the things that I loved about this movie, Brandon was talking about how the cohesion of the story isn't great, and that's why it's not his favorite. What I love in this movie are the creative kills, first of all, because they're the most creative ones we've seen so far. And Warwick Davis is on point with the limericks in this one. He's delivering limericks like no one's business. In some of the future movies, he doesn't talk in rhyme all the time, or he's not doing limericks, but he is in this one all the time. It's really cool. So, Loretta has the coin next. She wishes that she's super hot. That's fine. Fazio steals the coin. Leprechaun appears 2 seconds too late. He's there and he makes her lips grow and her boobs grow and her butt grow until she explodes. And it's really gnarly and it's gross and it's lots of fun. That's
Yeah, that's the
probably,
one. I hadn't seen this movie since I was very young.
yeah.
That's like the one kill I remembered was that one. It's definitely a classic.
Yeah, I think it's probably my favorite in all of the Leprechaun movies so far. There are a couple that I haven't seen before that I still have to watch, and we'll see if any of those match up. Next comes Fazio. Fazio has the coin now, and while all of this is happening, Scott is turning into a leprechaun, and Tammy's trying to help him, or whatever. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is how these people get killed. Fazio wishes that he's the greatest magician ever. And so he's doing a magic show, and suddenly his show, which had like three people in it before, and two of them were making out, and one of them was just like throwing stuff at him, now is full. He's performing to a full crowd of people, and they are loving him. They have rapt attention, and they're clapping for everything he does. And once again, 2 seconds too late, that coin's not there anymore. But the leprechaun comes up and he decides that he's going to do a magic trick of his own. He puts Fazio in one of those boxes where you saw somebody in half, and he just saws the guy in half, plain and simple. And when he pulls it apart, his guts all fall out and stuff. That's funny too.
Yeah, this one definitely had some good kill. I like the creative kills. Like all the elements of this movie are good. Like if you just watched a highlight reel,
Mhm.
I think like I'd be like, wow, this is gonna be a good movie. It's like yeah, like those are good highlights, but they just had a lot of filler in it, and it
Yeah.
just even the whole thing with the him turning into a leprechaun.
Mhm.
It would happen a bit, but then they would like forget about it for a while, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden it's a bunch of coin business, and then all of a sudden it's back to him turning into a leprechaun, but
Yeah.
then he's normal again for a while, and then it's kind of like they just whenever okay we need to cut away from the leprechaun. Oh, let's pick up whatever story we had before. Let's bring back the two goons who were coming to get money from the casino. Let's bring them back and have another scene of them talking for 2 minutes. And a lot of it is just them standing there trying to be funny for a couple minutes, and they're not, and then okay, cut back to some other story. It just kind of got to the point where I'm like, okay, get on with it. Bring the leprechaun back, and then okay, now the leprechaun's back, being entertaining, and yeah, him on the TV, it was funny. Like
Yeah.
there was good kills, all that stuff was good, but everything else, I didn't find the main guy to be interesting. I like the main guy from part two better.
Yeah.
I like Jennifer Aniston from part one better. Like they just seem like a better main character.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's where I come out on it.
They did some funny stuff with him at the end when he was turning into the leprechaun when he was uh, it would probably be borderline offensive to Irish people where he was just eating potatoes nonstop, where all he
Yeah.
wanted was potatoes. And then when he finally does go to the hospital because he's turning into a leprechaun, they give him a cardiogram, and the cardiogram printout is just like ink stamps of a leprechaun dancing, and his encephalogram from his brain was in green clovers spelling out the words "fuck you." That was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny.
I did like you could tell they were having fun with it, and that's what I
Yeah,
like about like the Leprechaun series is that compared to Hellraiser or anything else, like they don't take themselves seriously. They know what
yeah,
they are, and they're not prepared to have fun. But at the same time, like the story still has to be good. If it gets dull, there's no. It's like just make the movie shorter instead of having to wait through the boring parts to get to the fun parts. Like I
yeah.
think they had a low budget and they did their best to milk it and make it look like they had a lot of stuff going on. It gets worse in subsequent movies a little bit. We'll discuss those when we get to it. But I wanted more Leprechaun. Is
Yeah.
my main issue.
The end of this one is pretty funny too. There's like a riot at the casino after he cuts Fazio in half, and everybody realizes there's a leprechaun there. There's a big confrontation between Scott, Tammy, and the leprechaun, and the leprechaun tries to tell Scott to come over to the green side. Come to the green side. Join us.
Scott, come over to the green side.
Like a dark side reference. And then there's another new rule. Another a fourth new rule potentially for this one is introduced where if you destroy the gold, you destroy the leprechaun. So they set fire to the gold, and that's what kills the leprechaun in this one. I don't know, man. Whole lot of new rules.
I think they're just making the rules up as they
Yeah.
go. They either get rid of rules or they just forget about them
Yeah.
and just kind of start fresh. And we discussed this before, like between part one and two. Like, is this the same Leprechaun, or is it just a similar looking one, but actually like a different individual? And I'm pretty sure I can't remember his name, but in the comic books, I think it is they gave him a name. So
There are
it's
comic books?
apparently I didn't know about it until I was
Huh.
reading on the wiki page, and they actually gave him a name. I can't remember what
Oh,
it is,
okay.
some kind of weird name. But that would imply that it's the same guy throughout the entire movie,
Well,
or
that's
entire
weird.
series, which is weird because like in the fourth one, he's like an alien on a distant planet, and it just so I guess he could be killed and then he just resurrects himself like Freddy Krueger. But then how come in part two they didn't remember him from part one? Like there's a lot of
In my mind, having watched up to five so far, I think there's only continuity between this one and five. And the rest of them are offshoot or like separate leprechauns from
yeah.
somewhere else. Yeah.
That's kind of how yeah, even well, I guess the Leprechaun Returns is linked to the first movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that one yet, but when you do, that's a
Yeah.
direct sequel. But other than that, yeah, this one and five are linked a little bit,
Hmm.
and then everyone else, all the other, yeah, they're just like stand. Well, I guess five and six are like the hood ones. Yeah, you kind of have to take them as separate
Yeah. Very
universe.
strange. So what do you give this one overall, Brandon?
I'd go like either like strong 5.5 or a weak 6 around there. Like
Okay.
it is entertaining, but you have to sit through some crappy stuff to get to the entertaining parts.
All right. Well, I'm going to give this one an eight. And like I
Oh,
said, I'm giving it an eight because it's my favorite one in the series. It's colorful, it's bright, it's flashy. It's got lots of goofy limericks. It's got lots of crazy kills. And I will put up with the fact that there's some draggy parts for the fact that, I mean, just all of the dumb stuff that they added with Scott transforming and the potatoes and the encephalogram and all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. I don't love it the way they continued on in the next one, but we'll get to that one in the next episode. So, folks, thanks for joining us to talk about Leprechaun 3. We hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to both of our channels. So you can click the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen, and you can subscribe to both of us. They'll appear one on top of the other. You can click them both. Takes you a second, costs you $0, and come back to hear us talk more about Leprechaun. And if you go on to Brandon's channel, you can hear us finishing up our discussions on Child's Play. And we're doing a movie called Bad Seed, and next on in line is The Evil Dead. So we will see you next time. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm joined with Brandon from the Brandon vs. Movies YouTube channel. We do lots of film analysis together. It's lots of fun. And today we are continuing on with the Leprechaun series, and we're doing Leprechaun 4 in Space from 1997. This one was directed by Brian Tenchard Smith. the same guy who directed 3, the one that's in Vegas. And this is a very strange entry in the series. And Brandon, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, so this one is weird. It's they never refer to the leprechaun as leprechaun in this one. I don't think he's basically an alien. Like he's from another planet, so he's an alien, but he's the leprechaun that we know. It's very weird. They never address it. They
Yeah.
never address anything that happened in the previous movies. It's just now he's trying to wed himself to this princess so he can get. She wants the gold that he has, and he wants the power that comes along with being married to a princess. Meanwhile, these space marines come by to kill him because he's been messing around with their mining operations or something. So they go to kill him, and they do quote kill him in a really they throw a grenade. He dives in the grenade. However, one of the marines thinks it's a good idea to take a piss on the leprechaun's corpse, and the leprechaun, his soul or magic or something, flies up the guy's dick, for lack of a better word, better way to describe it. But he doesn't notice anything's wrong, so they all head back. And there's a scientist, female scientist on board who's there, and the whole thing's being run by this Blofeld kind of
Yeah.
guy who's half mechanical. Everything in this movie is a ripoff of another movie.
It
Um,
super is.
that Blofeld guy, he's like the guy from Doctor Who, the Daleks or whatever, the
Yeah.
that whatever that guy's name is, who's like his lower half of his body is like a little tank kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know
Um,
the answer to that one.
yeah, but he's like that guy, and the aliens influence here is so
Oh,
obvious. Like
off the
it's
charts.
just down to the way the Marines act, to the whole countdown to the ship exploding, to I'll ruin the ending, but blowing the leprechaun out of the airlock. It's like
Yeah.
everything was just lifted from mostly Aliens or another movie. And so mix that with a whole bunch of weirdly bizarre scenes, and then you got Leprechaun 4.
Yeah.
I'll say it is entertaining. I'll say I like it, but it was a step down. I had problems with part 3 for just their story and pacing. This
Mhm.
one, the pacing might have been better, but it was again just all over the place with just the weirdest shit.
It's really strange. It really is. I think that this is an Earth leprechaun that's made it into space. Just from the way that he's singing Irish folk songs and talking about his mother, his mother taught him this song when he was a wee lad and all that sort of thing. I just get the impression that he that this is an Earth leprechaun who's made it into space. I don't know how. I don't know why. Who knows? But this movie felt more like a TV show than a movie. At least the intro of it. Um, they alternate between using some really, really fantastic practical effects that we'll talk about in a little bit, all involving that Blofeld type guy. Pretty much everything that happens to him looks really cool and it's done practically. But they also use a lot of terrible CGI. So anytime you're seeing a ship, the outside of the spaceship in this movie, it looks like dog shit. It looks terrible. They also do some other questionable things with CGI, like making the leprechaun grow. Near the end of the movie, they make the leprechaun grow with an enlargement ray, and they didn't take into account the fact that you can't just take an image of somebody and blow it up and leave it at the same resolution because it'll end up looking really stupid. And it did. Like he looked all pixely and weird, and it was dumb. Um, I think the technology would have existed back then to, do some scaling of the resolution, but who knows?
Yeah, it looked like 32-bit graphics from like 1992. Like it
Yeah,
was like even at the end after the leprechaun gets blown out of the airlock and he explodes,
yeah,
and then his like hand is flying by the window and he gives him the finger, which is supposed to be funny.
yeah,
But it looks like Nintendo from like 1987. Like it's just such bad graphics.
yeah. Playing some Sega CD games.
Yeah, exactly.
So this one also stars Miguel A. Nunez Jr. from Return of the Living Dead, who's out there still doing stuff. And he was also the guy who was singing on the toilet in Friday the 13th. Do you
Okay.
remember?
Part five. Yeah.
Yeah, where him and his girlfriend were singing to each other while he was taking a crap,
Yeah.
which is always a classic scene. And it also has Debbie Dunning from Home Improvement. And so she was the replacement for Pamela Anderson as the Tool Time Girl, Heidi the Tool Time Girl or whatever. So they are a group of Space Marines, like Brandon said, and their boss is a guy who has half metal head, which is interesting. It was a pretty neat looking effect, I thought. I mean, it's something, it wasn't particularly slick or it didn't look like up to professional standards. It was a straight to video movie. It's something that could be recreated by indie horror people now quite easily, I'd say. Yeah, so they do go and find this leprechaun on a planet, and he's got a princess named Princess Zarina from the Andromedans or something like that, whatever civilization she represents. He wants to become a king, like Brandon mentioned. He wants power to rule the universe, and she wants gold, so she's down. She's down with it. What happens though? Also, as Brandon mentioned, he jumps on a grenade that's thrown over their way. He throws Princess Zarina out of the way, but her hand is blown off in the process. And then they do the thing with the guy where he pisses on the leprechaun's leg and it travels up into his wiener, whatever, right? So these guys figure if they bring the princess back, it's going to score them big points with the aristocracy of this civilization that she represents, as well as they have the bits and pieces of this leprechaun. So they get it's a twofer. Now, luckily for the Blofeld guy who runs the ship, the scientist, they find out that this woman can regenerate limbs. So he's like, "Oh man, if this lady can regenerate limbs, I'm going to take some of her DNA and I'm going to regenerate all my own limbs because I have no limbs. I look all weird and I've got my heart sitting in a jar of goop and it looks weird and it's just pumping like crazy all the time." Um, so they decide that they're going to do that. Meanwhile, Debbie Dunning gets this guy who pissed on the leprechaun all hot and bothered. So she gives him a boner, and it's her own words later. Um, she gives him a boner. They decide that they're going to go off and get it on in the garbage area of the ship instead of going to one of their rooms because I assume they have rooms on the ship. They're going to go to the trash area, and that's when the leprechaun does a chest burster, except out of his dick. So it's a dick burster. He pops out, and it's leprechaun time. Debbie Dunning wonders, is it my fault because I gave him a boner? I don't think so. I think the leprechaun was coming out one way or another.
And for that scene, I will thank them. They could have made that a lot more graphic and disgusting,
Yeah,
and they did hold back.
yeah.
He kept his pants on, and you could just see there was a whole bunch of movement, like something thrashing around in his crotch, and then the leprechaun explodes from his pants. But you don't see anything that would be offensive to see other than that.
This movie is odd in the respect that I think they blew their entire effects budget on Mitten Hand and what happens to Mitten Hand. Because most of the kills in this movie are either not shown or they're very understated. They're very just
There is one, the
standard.
one with the where he throws the tray at that guy's head.
Well,
That
yeah,
one.
yeah. I consider that part of the whole Mitten Hand thing because it
Okay.
was happening in the same room. Yeah. At one point, the lackey, first of all, the lackey gets what I assume is a little hatchet in his balls because he has to pull it out after. And then the leprechaun throws a tray at his face, and true Looney Tunes style, he throws it hard enough with the guy's head against the wall that it pancakes his whole head, and it's got winking eyes and stuff. Classic stuff. Practical effect too. Looked pretty neat.
Yeah, that's again, like I hadn't seen this one in years, and that's the one death that I remember just because of it was so ridiculous. But at least they did it practically, so it's like I'll give them kudos for that.
Yeah. But most of the other practical effects that they did, like one guy gets killed by a big crate being dropped on him and you don't see anything. I think Debbie Dunning just gets stabbed. One guy gets
Yeah,
clawed, you
guy
know?
gets um they're wearing like hazmat suits and they're in
Yeah.
some level or some area with like radiation or poisonous air or whatever, some sort of
Mhm.
thing. And then Leprechaun cuts his suit, and then you see him later, and he's like a skeleton.
Yeah, it's just a skeleton in the suit. So what happens is we'll go to the Mitten Hand kill because I thought it was, or what happens to Mitten Hand because it's probably the coolest part in this whole movie. So the leprechaun, when he's looking for Princess Serena, he's looking for his bride. This one, the gold is taking a backbench to this woman that he's looking for, his bride. So he finds the lab eventually. He tricks his way into the lab by making himself appear as the naked lady scientist that is currently with the Marines. There's weird TNA in this movie, and I'll get into that in a minute. Like it's just shoehorned in. Um, so he gets his way into the lab, and he's talking with Mittenhand, and it's kind of an interesting conversation because they're both monsters. Mittenhand's a monster, Leprechaun's a monster. Leprechaun's ultimate goal is to get power and be king, which was never his goal before, but it is in this movie. Okay. Mittenhand's goal is to rule with an iron fist and rule by fear. And it almost seems like they're kind of on the same page for a minute, but then the leprechaun says, "No, you're the real monster." And then he takes the DNA that they've extracted from this woman and made into some sort of serum to grow Mittenhand's limbs back. But he also throws in a scorpion and he throws in a spider. And he throws it in the blender and then he jams this dude in the neck before him and Zarina leave because he's woken her
It's
up.
not looking like it's the back of the head. That way they could
Oh,
fake
okay.
it without actually having to show him plunge it. They just hide
Ah,
the
okay.
behind his head, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh come on, that's so cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But it's what happens to this guy afterwards is probably, I think it's the coolest thing in this movie because they did it practically. He takes up nearly a whole room with this body. He is man, spider, scorpion thing, and he's got webs everywhere. And I thought it was pretty neat. Apart from the fact that he wanted to eat flies nonstop, I thought that was stupid. But what did you think of
yeah,
that?
yeah. I like that. It was you could see the influence from The Fly,
Yeah,
the movie. But yeah, it looked pretty cool. You could tell I'm glad they did it practically. Like if they did that CGI, it would have been so bad. They
yeah,
did it practically. It was pretty cool. He captures one of the Marines in his web.
yeah,
And I thought it was weird that finally, when the main scientist woman comes and saves the guy who's caught in the web, he doesn't like push the web off him.
no,
He's got this like weird skin. It's like skin web stuff all over him,
yeah.
and he just keeps it on there. Like he's wearing it like a cape. Like, wouldn't you just brush that off? I don't know. It was so. I know they spent all their time and money
Yeah.
on it that they didn't want to. They wanted it seen, but
Well,
there's things like that. But
the way
I did
all
like
the
that creature.
yeah, the way all the webs on him were bloody, I thought that he had been torn up a bit by the guy, but apparently not. Like he was just saving him for later.
Yeah.
But they did when Mittenhand did die, they did definitely bring in the influence from The Fly because he was doing the help me," like the guy does at the end of The Fly. Not the
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum fly, the
Yeah.
original fly, the black and white fly. But yeah, he gets the Jason Voorhees in Space Special where he gets frozen and then he gets shattered. So
Yeah,
that's
they did that. That's from Terminator
oh
2
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a
so
lot.
many things.
Everything in it, like pretty much every single thing that happens in the movie was just a cliche. They even have the oh, what's the password to the ship to
Yeah,
turn off the self destruct, and it's like this is a brilliant genius.
yeah,
Why would it be a word? He would have some complicated code that no one could guess.
yeah.
The code is wizard. Like what? Why would he? Come on.
Because he
Uh,
referred to himself as the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, because yeah, one part he called himself the Wizard of
Yeah,
Oz, but
so
yeah,
dumb.
it's
But
ridiculous.
there's also weird TNA shoehorned into this movie for no reason whatsoever. Like I mentioned, I mean, it kind of makes sense if he's trying to gain access to the lab that he's going to prey on the horny science assistant guy by pretending to be a nude woman. But Zarina, who is in league with the leprechaun, she's just as bad as the leprechaun. She's a bad guy. She decides that these Marines that are opposing them are marked for death. And the way you mark someone for death in her society is showing them your tits. And so she does, which is weird. Okay, that doesn't need to be in there. I mean, what are you going to do? It's a horror movie, right? From the
Yeah,
90s. But and then there's one for the ladies too, because at one point, Books, the guy, the Marine who's with the scientist lady, and they're romantic together, he gets his shirt torn off. And so he's walking around and he's all greased, like he's all oiled up, you too. You can tell that they've put some baby oil on this guy, walking around for the ladies. And then when the scientist lady is running away from Mitten Hand, he pulls her pants off for some reason. And so she's just running around in her panties for the end of the movie. It's weird, right? That didn't need to happen.
And that is one kind of, it's more of a casting issue, and they do it for a lot of these movies. Like in Aliens, like the 1986 Aliens, like I believe that those people were space marines.
Yeah,
Like the guys looked rough, and even the women, like
yeah,
they weren't ugly by any means, but they look like, these look like real women that would be in the
yeah,
military. Now, pretty much all the guys, there's maybe two people that look like they could be soldiers. The rest look like handsome pretty boy models who just
mm,
work out, and just the super hot women. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't buy for a second that any of these women has ever held a gun. I don't buy that any of those guys have ever held a gun. And that guy, when he gets his shirt ripped off, it's like, yeah, he's well built, he works out,
yeah,
but the guy's never lifted a thing in his life other than weights.
yeah,
Like you figure a Marine would just have like a battle like a battle scarred body, right? Just give him something. Like Rambo, he just got scars on him. This
yeah,
guy was like a perfect Adonis. Like I didn't buy that
yeah.
they were real soldiers.
He's got gym muscles. And then what happens? There's also a drag show in the middle of it, which was weird too.
You know what the hell's going on with that, but
Yeah. The leprechaun, it seems that he can work his magic not just on humans, but on robots too, because their sergeant guy is a robot, it turns out. And I don't know how the leprechaun can do that, but he took over this guy's mind and he made him do a little drag show in the middle of it.
yeah, that's another thing. It never makes sense because, yeah, for one, how does he possess him if he's a robot?
Yeah.
But also, if he can possess people, why doesn't he just possess everyone all the time and get what he wants?
Yeah,
And there's
exactly.
times like he can just use his magic and throw a pair of handcuffs at a guy and handcuff him to a wall.
Yeah.
But why does he do? If he could just materialize anything at any time, why is he getting shot? And like, why would he allow himself to be defeated if he could just kill everyone with a wave of his hand?
Yeah.
He can like make people explode, like just make their guts explode by just a movement of his finger.
And
But sometimes you can't do that. It's like they just make up whatever needs to be done in whatever scene.
how powerful must leprechauns be if they are earth creatures that can work their magic out in space?
Yeah.
Out in the vast reaches of the universe, they can still have all this power. The other thing that I found interesting was if going down the path that you were talking about, if the leprechaun can just use his magic and make people do his bidding, what I would do is go over to the guy who has my gold, say, "Give me my gold," and then the
Yeah.
guy would say, "Okay, here you go," and I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Movie
Exactly.
done."
Yeah.
Killed this guy who had my gold, but then everybody else you're spared because I just got my gold back. I can go back to doing whatever it is I do.
Not to mention, I gotta have a word with this leprechaun. Like, if you care about this gold so much and you keep losing it and dropping it, and people are taking your coins,
Yeah,
like put a lid on it. Just put a lid on it
yeah.
so it's not spilling everywhere and you're losing it and people are grabbing it. Just take better care of it.
This was the biggest gold pile ever as well. This is the biggest one that we've seen so far. This is a universal golden gems pile that's takes the middle of a room and it's everywhere all at once. How did he
And
kill
then
that? Oh yeah, he killed the first guy, the guy who took his gold while they were in the cave. He had a green lightsaber.
yeah, oh yeah, this is the Star Wars ripoff.
So
Yeah.
dumb.
But you mentioned before about how this one, like the gold, took a back seat. That his main drive was to marry this princess.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're flip flopping back and forth. The first movie, he was trying to get his gold. The
Hmm.
second movie, he was trying to marry that girl who was a descendant of the girl from 1,000 years ago that he wanted.
Right.
Part three, they went back to him wanting the gold. Part four, they're back to him wanting to marry a princess.
It's so
It seems
weird.
like they're just going back and forth of what his ultimate um, goal is.
So what did you think of this one overall?
I I would like I would have to give it a 4. There's stuff
Oh,
there to
okay.
like. It is fun to watch. Like if you that's when I was younger watching it with friends, like it's stupid. It's fun to sit there and laugh at it. It's entertaining. It has some cool elements. It's not very good, and I know that it's just a Leprechaun movie, but I think they need to try harder.
Yeah. I ended up giving it much higher than you. I ended up giving it a 7.
Whoa.
Simply because I was entertained. Um, I really, really, I think when I gave the score, I was really enamored with what they did with Mitten Hand. I thought it was really neat, and uh, maybe that's why the score ended up being so high. No idea, but maybe I was tired that day. I don't know, because
That's
talking
fine.
about it now,
I do watch it periodically. I've seen them all several times.
yeah,
So I do like this one, but yeah, it has its drawbacks.
yeah. All right. So, folks, that brings us to the end of our talk about Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space. You please go ahead and subscribe to both of our channels down at the bottom. You can click the subscribe button and both of them come up. You can click them one at a time or both at the same time if you're really fast. And it'll take you a second, cost you $0. You can come back and listen to us talk more about Leprechaun on this channel, or you can come back and listen to us talk about Child's Play on Brandon's channel, or Evil Dead, which is something that we're going to be starting soon. We've also got a one-off coming up very soon on the movie called The Bad Seed from 1957, which we found very interesting, and we think you will too. So tune in for our discussion over there, and come and join us next time. Bye. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. My name is Ben, I'm your host, and I'm joined with Brandon from the Brandon vs. Movies YouTube channel. We do some film analysis together, and this is the latest entry in our series on the Leprechaun franchise that we have been working through on the channel. We do similar film analysis on Brandon's channel. We've done more on this channel too. If you like hearing what you're hearing, then consider giving us a subscribe. But today we're talking about Leprechaun in the Hood from the year 2000, directed and written by Rob Spera. And remember this, folks, because Rob Spera is a white man. Now remember that as we go forward in this crazy movie. Okay? It starts off with a clever rhyme about a lep in the hood. It should be stated that the cast of this movie is predominantly black. Nearly every character. I think there's one Asian character and one white character. But a white man wrote it. Brandon, what do you think about this movie?
This is the first one I think that is truly bad.
Yeah.
I don't like this one. Like 3 and 4, I have my issues with. 4, I gave a pretty negative rating, but I still like it on some level. It's still kind of fun. This one was pretty boring. There's so much boring stuff. And when I read into it, apparently this didn't start as a Leprechaun script. This started as a separate movie about these young rappers that ripped off a music producer, and then he came after him. That was the story.
Hmm.
The studio owned that, or whatever company owned that script. So they're like, hey, let's just add the Leprechaun into it. And you could tell because the whole movie pretty much works without the Leprechaun.
Yeah.
And again, it's one where it just like it jumps around. There's even a scene where the Asian character you mentioned, the store owner,
Yeah.
he gets killed, and you don't even see the Leprechaun. It's like
Yeah.
Warwick Davis is like sick that day, so they
Completely
film the
off
whole
screen.
thing
Yeah.
POV. You hear his voice, and then you just see a hand come out and grab the guy's throat, and then it cuts. Like everything is so stupidly done in this, and there's just like it'll be like 20 minutes of no Leprechaun, just other stuff happening over it. It's so boring. And then finally you get to see the Leprechaun a bit, and then it jumps back. This one is just bad. There's a few cool parts. Again, anything where the Leprechaun's on screen is pretty decent.
Yeah.
But he's just like he's not there that much. And like I like Ice-T, he's kind of
Yeah.
cool, but even he's not it. Like they'll forget about him for a while and they'll deal with the Leprechaun. Then they'll forget about the Leprechaun and then they'll deal with Ice-T again. Because Ice-T is this record producer, and he rejected. There's these 3 young rappers, and Ice-T rejected their CD or whatever for their music.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided to get revenge by robbing him. And one of the things this guy owns is the statue of the Leprechaun with a medallion around his neck. Which in the opening scene we find out how he got that, which Ben can explain in a minute. But these boys steal. Of course, they take off the medallion. The Leprechaun comes to life. And then from there, it's just a disjointed, weird story. It's just bad.
It should have been the story of Ice-T versus the Leprechaun throughout history, right? It shouldn't have, these three guys, these three annoying children, should not have been included at all, if you ask me. But so,
They're
like
the main
Brandon
characters.
mentioned, sorry?
I said like they're the main. I agree, but they were
Yeah,
the main characters. Like it was all
yeah,
about them, but they were the least interesting part of the movie.
exactly. I love me some iced tea too. This movie starts off in the 70s, and Ice-T's got a nice afro and everything, and he's wearing a fur coat because he is a pimp. He's a pimp named Onassis. And when people ask, why is this man who's obviously not Greek named Onassis? It's because he owns asses. Get it? Because he's a pimp. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's the first of many cringe humor bits in this movie. But so Ice-T and his pal are looking for something. They're looking for some sort of treasure in the subway system. Which I think was probably supposed to be New York, but they're in LA later. But so they're looking under the subway system and they accidentally crash through a wall. And behind this wall is the statue of the leprechaun from number three, looking exactly the same, jade statue with the medallion on it, and a whole bunch of gold, including this little gold flute, which is going to play a major role in this movie. And we've never seen anything like this gold flute before. Like the leprechaun, I guess, has been holding on to this thing, which is the most powerful artifact in the entire universe. But so the one pal takes the medallion off of the leprechaun, and that spells his doom because when you take the medallion off the leprechaun, it kills you. So it kills the guy. Ice-T comes in, he sees this friend is dead. This leprechaun is about to kill him, and then through some cosmic twist of fate, the medallion gets launched up in the air and it lands on the leprechaun's neck. But he doesn't look like he did before. He doesn't look like a jade statue that looks pretty good. Now he looks like dog shit. He looks terrible. I don't know what changed in the 5 seconds that he was back to life there, but so yeah. Then we're flash forward to the future, and we've got these three terrible rappers, and they want to be positive rappers, and that's a lofty goal. Like that's great if you want to be a positive rapper in the early 2000s in Compton, which is where they are. These guys talk like characters from Boys in the Hood. They're constantly dropping N-bombs on each other. They're talking like um, gangsta stereotypes from the movies. And remember that a white man wrote the script, folks. Pretty bad stuff. But yeah, these guys are not great rappers. They accidentally blow up the DJ equipment that's at the competition that they're trying to win to go to Las Vegas to actually be real rappers. So they owe these guys money to replace the equipment, and they have no money. Like these guys are bad at stuff, and apparently one is a virgin, and they bust his ball. Every single character in this movie busts his balls about being a virgin through the entire movie. It's pretty wild. Like
Including his friend's grandma.
yeah, even the friend's grandma. I was about to say that blind grandma. Are you still a virgin? What's wrong with you? It's weird. But so these kids are trying to figure out what they're gonna do. They steal a guitar out of a garbage dumpster and try and sell it to two different pawn shops, saying it was Jimi Hendrix's from the year after he died, because they didn't do their research. I guess the internet was expensive in 2000.
It's like, well, why did they even have to give a year? Why couldn't they just said it's Jimi
Yeah,
Hendrix guitar?
yeah,
Period.
exactly. Super dumb. But so they run into Ice-T. Ice-T is a rap producer who is fabulously wealthy, I guess, from his interaction with the leprechaun, and he took all the gold. He's fabulously wealthy, and he's got the flute always around his wrist. He's always carrying it. And these kids manage to talk their way, they socially engineer their way into meeting with him at his house and playing their mixtape for him. He doesn't like it very much, and to add insult to the whole thing, he's got the leprechaun statue in some glass in his office, and the one kid that's a virgin kept pawing at it. So he was like, get out of here, you idiots. You guys are losers. Go home." And as Brandon mentioned, they decided that they're going to get revenge. And they get that revenge by coming up with a plan to rob the guy in the most gangsta way possible. But when they go to rob the guy, would you not think that he'd have some security? Wouldn't you? It was so weird.
for two reasons. For
Yeah.
one, he has a lot of expensive jewels and expensive stuff. But two, he has a leprechaun in his office that if you mess with it and take that thing off, it's going to come and kill him.
Yeah.
So you think he would just,
He's
first
got
of all,
a
like, why would he throw that thing in the bottom of a lake? You know?
he's got a leprechaun's entire fortune, and he doesn't have any security on his house whatsoever. And he left his own gun in his desk drawer, which is very weird. I don't think that that's something that would happen. But anyways, they're busy robbing this guy, and they take the necklace off of they take the medallion off the leprechaun statue, and then Ice-T walks into the place, and Postman P, I believe that's his name, Postmaster P. I don't know.
Yeah, Postmaster
The
B.
P for positivity shoots him. So they think that they've killed him. They grab up everything they can, including the flute off of his wrist, and they make their escape. Now, the leprechaun is alive. Ice-T is alive because the bullet hit his medallion. And they have a little interaction with each other right then and there. Don't they? They have an interaction
I
right.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Ice-T's. Yeah, because the last time I saw you was a long time ago or something like that. But yeah, because that's the part where Ice-T and the leprechaun share a joint.
Yeah,
So,
which is whenever you talk about this movie with people that have seen it, that's
yeah,
the scene they reference, and it's
yeah,
kind of like, haha, it's funny, you know, Ice-T smokes a joint with Leprechaun,
yeah,
and it was an amusing scene, but it takes more than a 15-second scene
yeah, to make a
to
movie.
make a movie, and that's honestly probably the best part of the movie, which is pretty
Yeah.
sad.
And the leprechaun cuts his finger off. I should mention now that this leprechaun, this iteration of leprechaun, is back to doing limericks all the time. So he's back to doing rhyming couplet, not limericks, rhyming couplets all the time. Uh, unless he's high, I guess, because later on he doesn't. So these kids, they decide that they're going to start selling stuff to the local pawn shops. And that means that we have more potential targets for the leprechaun as he tries to get his gold back from these guys. The first pawn shop that they go to, it's an older guy. His name is Jackie D, and they get a bunch of money from him and the stereo equipment to replace what they broke at the other place at the competition. As soon as they leave that place, Jackie D goes outside and he's met with his ex Jackie C. Jackie C and Jackie D. And Jackie C is the leprechaun, and she kills him. And she kind of kills him off screen too. You don't see what happens to him. You just see that they were making out, and then he's dead. Right. Next place he goes to is
Yeah,
to
they kind of cheaped out.
yeah. They go to Chow's pawn shop, and this is the one that Brandon was talking about. They get some more money from Chow, and as soon as they leave Chow's place, a clawed hand kills Chow, and you don't see anything other than that. But what was interesting about Chow's house, or Chow's pawn shop, is they were showing jars of Chow's specimens. Chow has weird organic specimens back there. And I swear to God that Mitten Hand's face was in one.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, because it was showing this kind of part of a head, and it looked like Mitten Hand's face. So I think that he had Mitten Hand's face in a jar. Which, how did that happen? Did he go back in time? I don't know. It's weird,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That one was 100 years in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. So the boys go to meet with another record producer. This one is a drag queen. And everything about what happens next is offensive. Every single thing. Everything that involves this character, the way that the leprechaun meets the character, and it says an offensive rhyme about not wanting to play with fruit. Um, Everything is bad with this. Um, Meanwhile, at the same time, Postmaster P has discovered that if you blow this flute, um, it almost seems like it stops time the first time he does it. But what it's actually doing is it's making everyone pay attention and putting them under your suggestion. So this is one of the most powerful things ever, right? Because if you're a terrible rapper and you blow this flute, it'll make people think you're a good rapper. And that's exactly what these guys do.
Which is weird because in Leprechaun 4, we had the Marine dress up in drag and do that whole performance. And now we got some other similar character. And at this, I don't know if it was something at this time, because this is around the time that the movie White Chicks came out, with the
Yeah.
Wayans brothers.
Hmm.
I don't know why in this Leprechaun movie, two of the two main rappers, they decide that the Leprechaun, for some reason, he's been possessing all these women that are
Yeah.
like half leprechauns with green eyes.
Yeah,
So
it's
he's
weird.
surrounded by women. So they're like, oh, in order to get close to the leprechaun to kill him, we're gonna dress up like women.
Yeah.
Like some the same problem with that movie White Chicks. Like if you're a big muscular man with a square jaw,
Yeah.
you cannot, like, how do they think you can just throw on some makeup and a mini skirt and you're gonna look like a beautiful woman that who's gonna fool, and like no one's gonna notice? It's just so ridiculous if this is the only way. Like why didn't they just sneak in or
Yeah.
hold them at gunpoint? It's just ridiculous how they
Because
yeah.
they had to get him to smoke a four-leaf clover joint with them, Brandon, and he wouldn't
Oh right,
just do
yeah.
that if you snuck in. Because there's a four-leaf clover joint in this movie, folks. It's weird. They decide that they're gonna, first of all, they go visit the grandmother, the blind grandmother, and she makes fun of the guy for being a virgin, and that's funny. Then they go to the church, and the church guy is a gross guy. He's one of these gross guys that doesn't need to be a gross guy, but he is. They decide he decides that they can stay there and get sanctuary from Mac Daddy, who is Ice-T's character's name. I had to think about it for a minute. If they perform a song. They perform the worst rendition of Jesus Loves Me that was ever made. And everybody wants to leave until they play the flute, and then it's the greatest version of Jesus Loves Me ever, where the Jesus Loves Me because I got a hoe or something like that. And it was, it's supposed to be gangsta, this version. And then Coolio walks in. And Coolio doesn't say a word. He just walks in, looks at them, and then walks out. Why was
Yeah,
Coolio there?
I
Coolio,
wonder.
rest in peace, King.
Yeah, it's like they asked him to do a cameo and they offered him a bunch of money, and he's like,
Mm.
"All right, I'll come there. You got 10 minutes. That's
Yeah,
it. I'll walk
exactly.
in there, get me on camera, and then I'm leaving." Because
Yeah.
yeah, I thought like he's gonna do something, like the leprechaun's gonna kill him or you'll do
Or
something, and then it's like, no, that's it. He
I thought
just
he was going to
leaves.
rap with them. I thought he was going to get up there and do the Jesus Loves Me with them, like do a verse. But no, nothing. Oh boy. It's a big mess. And I'm really shrinking it down here, folks.
As I say, like the issue is that like these things have happen, but it's almost like they just took like 10 different storylines, put them together, and then picked random scenes.
Yeah.
Because like for a while, like Mac Daddy, Ice T is trying to kill these three boys because they ripped him off.
Hmm.
So there'll be a scene where he's shooting at them. Somehow they get away, or he'll corner them and then leave for some reason, and then he's just not seen for a while. Now we're back to
Yeah.
Leprechaun movie, and there's a Leprechaun stuff going on, and nothing really ties together. And it's kind of like what happened to Mac Daddy. There's even a scene where I think the writer or the director realized like, oh shit, like this isn't going to make sense because we're ditching storylines for too long. So there's a part where one of the boys is like, oh, we got to be careful because remember, Mac Daddy's out there somewhere and he
Yeah.
wants to get us. It's kind of like don't forget about him. We'll eventually get back to that storyline.
They do that a
Uh,
couple of times where they say, well, we can't forget Mac Daddy. He's out there. And every time they do, one of the characters picks up a gun and says, I don't care about Mac Daddy or something like that.
yeah,
It's weird. Eventually we get down to like eventually the two friends are killed and Postmaster P is the only one left. And there's the big confrontation between Mac Daddy, this guy, and the Leprechaun. And this is when he's still in a dress, I believe, because they had just made the Leprechaun smoke a four-leaf clover joint. P shoots Mac Daddy three times and it looks like he's dead. And then he gets confronted by the Leprechaun. The Leprechaun's coming over to kill him. But Mac Daddy's not dead. He's alive and he has the medallion up. Okay? He's got the medallion up like this. The leprechaun doesn't see him. He decides he's going to hit the leprechaun with a chair instead of just putting the goddamn medallion over his neck and ending the whole thing. So stupid. Oh
not to
boy.
mention this
Yeah.
this leprechaun can come back from jumping on a grenade. I mean, like obviously my daddy doesn't know that, but he knows that this is like a magical creature with magical powers.
Yeah.
Yet he says, well, he thinks that he could defeat him by smashing him with a wooden chair.
Yeah.
Like that's going to finish him off.
He couldn't even finish off Postmaster P by hitting him with a chair. and he's not even a magical creature. So stupid. Anyway, Ice-T's character gets a hole blown right through him, which is the second time they do that in the movie. I th thought they could have come up with something a little bit more imaginative for Mac Daddy, but he got the same as his bodyguard, I guess. Just a hole blown right through you.
Yeah.
And then you think that the whole thing happens again where the medallion goes flying up in the air.
Yeah, they use that same trick twice.
Yeah.
Like,
But you think it landed on him, but it didn't because all of a sudden Postmaster P is rapping again and everybody's watching him and he's like the biggest rapper in the world, but he's got green eyes. So he has to wear sunglasses all the time because the leprechaun's controlling him.
yeah, so
Movie over.
this is the I can't remember the next couple, but so far it's the only one where the leprechaun is not defeated.
Yeah.
He doesn't die. He wins. He's there at the end. At the end.
Leprechaun wins, friends. All right, Brandon, what'd you give this movie?
This is the first one. I didn't like. It was just
Yeah.
boring. There was not like even part 3 and 4. There's things I didn't like about it. I think they were so good, but there were cool kills. There was some imagination to it. This one there really wasn't. Like I can't even really think of one cool kill to be honest. Like they were all just plain and boring. And yeah,
And you
I give
didn't
it
see a lot of them. When he killed the drag character, you knew that he was clawing at her, but you didn't see anything.
Yeah, and that was stupid. Like the
Mhm.
boys are like they peek in the room and it looks like the leprechaun's having sex with the drag queen under a blanket,
Yeah.
and then we cut up close and it's like oh he's actually like scratching him and killing him or like
Yeah.
it just wasn't. There was nothing memorable in this one,
Yeah.
and I have to mention too. It's just I don't know if anyone else would notice this, but I like Ice-T as an actor. Like
Mhm.
it's actually pretty cool, like in SVU and stuff.
Yeah.
In the opening scene, for some reason, his acting is so bad. I don't know if it's because the dialogue is bad, but it was, or maybe he was told to do it that way, but he was acting so cheesy and stupid. I was like, what? I don't remember it being this bad. Like, shame on
Mm.
you, Ice-T. But when they skip ahead to modern day, he starts acting like normal and good again. So I
Yeah.
don't know what it is, but that first scene I found to be very, very weird. But I would give
Yeah.
this 3.5.
Okay. I'm very close with you on this one. I give it a 4. I didn't like it. I thought there were so many it was offensive in so many different ways. Uh, I mean, from the way that the characters talked to each other, from the way they behaved, it was stereotypical. It was garbage. It was low effort. They could have hired a black person to help them with the script if that's what they wanted to do and have them talk like actual people talk and not just cartoon characters. And the whole stuff, everything that involved the drag character and the characters coming in drag later was just, oh, it was just a cringe festival. I really didn't like this movie, even though I like Ice-T a lot. The Ice-T parts were great. Should have had more Ice-T and more Warwick Davis together and forget
Yeah,
everybody else.
honestly, that's what they set up at the beginning.
Yeah,
Ice-T is the one that discovered the leprechaun and it killed his friend,
yeah,
and he temporarily defeated him. It's like, oh, they're setting it up that the leprechaun's going to come back and they'll have some kind of showdown. Instead, they're like, nah, forget him. Let's focus on these 3 other guys,
mhm,
and then the whole thing just gets so convoluted. And I get it that Ice-T was more famous. He probably cost a lot, so they
yeah.
couldn't have him in the movie as much. Same with the leprechaun, Warwick Davis. Yeah, I just wish they'd done better with it.
It almost looked like there was a throwback to 2 as well when they had him trapped in one of those iron safes, but he was able to get out of that no problem. So,
Yeah, he just got out of that. He didn't have to get
yeah,
help. He just escaped.
yep. He's just like, oh, now I'm over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks. That's the end of Leprechaun 5, Leprechaun in the Hood. Join us next time for Leprechaun 6, which is Back to the Hood. Hopefully that one's better, but I'm not holding my breath. I guess we'll see. As always, you can click the subscribe button in the bottom corner of the video. It's probably that corner because I'm mirrored again. But you can subscribe to both of our channels at the same time. They're going to come up right on top of each other. You can click them within a second to subscribe to our channels. We hope that you do. It costs you $0. You can come back and hear more conversations like this. We love breaking down movies for you folks, and we know a lot of you like it based on the comments and the engagement that we get. So come in, share your thoughts, share your opinions. We love to hear it, and we'll see you next time. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. I'm joined again by Brandon from the YouTube channel Brandon vs. Movies, and we're going to do more analysis of the Leprechaun movies. We've got three to go. Today we're going to do Leprechaun 6 Back to the Hood. It's pretty crazy. It's not necessarily as crazy as the last one that we did, the Leprechaun in the Hood, but this one is directed by a guy named Stephen Irom Louis. I believe is how you pronounce the name, but I really don't have any idea. Yeah, we're back to the hood, as the title of the movie states. It's Leprechaun Back 2 is in the number 2, THA Hood, spelled in a very 90s way, although this was 2003. And Brandon, why don't you kick us off with Leprechaun Back to the Hood?
I think this one is a step up from the last one. I like this one better. The story just makes more sense. The last one was all over the place, and like we said, the last one it started off as not a Leprechaun movie, and they just shoehorned the Leprechaun in. So they took a movie and then put the Leprechaun in a few scenes. Bam, you got a Leprechaun movie. This one kind of made more sense. This one was darker. This one was more horror. The last one seemed more comedy. Even the Leprechaun himself looked more evil in this one. There was something I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't know if they just put more makeup on, but he looked slightly different. Like there was just more gruesomeness to his face. He didn't seem to do the wisecracking as much as we've seen before. Overall, it was just a darker tone.
Yeah.
But overall, I liked it better than the last one. The last one I found got kind of boring for quite a bit of it. This one, it has its flaws and just some things that don't make sense. But the kills were a little bit better. And overall, I just found it was just a better movie all around. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a better movie. It's definitely a step up from the last one. We don't reach the heights that we did with maybe three or four, but or two rather, two or three. But it's not abysmal like the last one was. This one is quite a step up. It does seem like the Leprechaun is more gruesome. There is some really silly humor in, some really cringy humor in this that we'll get to when we get to it. But there's something that I wonder if okay, I'll go to it right now. Juggalos get around using the N-word, as most of the juggalos that are very popular in popular rap groups are white. They get around saying the N-word by saying ninja. And they started doing that in this movie. I wonder if this is where they got it from. Because they're all doing it in this movie. Even the Leprechaun. Leprechaun says too. He gets up at one point, says, "What's up, my ninjas?" It's really cringy. It's kind of terrible.
Yeah, I don't know why that was even in there.
Yeah.
I was alive at that time. I was a young adult at that time. I don't remember that being a thing though. And now it's like I think people would be like, what the hell is that? It's kind of offensive, but it's kind of stupid. Why was that even in there?
Just changing the word doesn't make it less offensive. The intention is still there.
Yeah, like why say that at all?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Juggalos do that. The Insane Clown Posse guys.
Yeah.
They say that all the time. I could be wrong though. Don't come after me, Juggalos. But I'm pretty sure I've heard it quite a bit. This one starts off with a fun animation about leprechauns, and if it were made in this day and age, that would have been probably Gen AI. But the animation was really cool. It was a pencil art style. I liked it a lot, and they even threw in a fun Wilhelm scream in there, telling the story about leprechauns. But
yeah,
the story is interesting because in this story, there's only one bad leprechaun. All the rest are great. There's one bad one, and that must be the one that we're dealing with all these times.
Yeah, it gets confusing because for one, they wait till part 6 before they give the leprechaun's origin.
Yeah.
But then they follow it up with a movie that we'll talk about next time called Leprechaun Origins, which is a different origin and has nothing to do with the other one. So it gets kind of weird. But yeah, they're implying that we've been dealing with one leprechaun the entire time. We've discussed this before. That, well, if he kind of seems to have different origins between 1 and 2, and he gets killed, so it must be a different one. But apparently it's not, because according to, I think there's comic books or something on his wiki page, His name is Lubden. Lubden.
Lubden. Okay. Hmm.
So that means that we've only been dealing with one this entire time. But it also doesn't make sense because in part 4, he's like an alien from space in the
Yeah.
future. So is that the same one, or are they just all named Lubden?
It's
It
so
gets
weird.
confusing. But all that aside, I did like that opening animation. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're trying something
Cool.
new. It's got some creativity. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then we notice almost immediately there's a big good versus evil battle going on. There's a priest. The whole premise of this movie is that a priest was trying to create a youth center to rehabilitate the neighborhood that he serves. And he did so by finding a leprechaun's gold. Now, unfortunately, as we know, leprechauns want their gold back. They don't want their gold to be spent on youth centers. So, we start off in this movie with the battle between this priest and Lubden the leprechaun. Apparently, his name is Lubden. And we see that he's got another new power, something that we've never seen before. His He can sense where his gold is by fabricating a rainbow. So he can create a rainbow that will lead him to his gold, which very odd. We've never seen it before. And also, we learn a little bit later on that he can traverse time or traverse space rather through this rainbow. He can use it to teleport, like Thor in the Rainbow Road. You know how like Thor just the rainbow hits the ground and then Thor's there? Same goes with this leprechaun. How come he's never done it until now?
Yeah, that's the thing about these movies is that his powers seem to come and go at will.
Mm,
He'll suddenly have these magical powers, but then in the next scene, there's a time where he could use those very powers, but instead he won't, and then he'll get shot or something and fall down. Where it's like, why don't you use your magical powers to put the guy in handcuffs? Or
yeah,
it just changes. It changes every movie, which is fine. You go
yeah.
into these Leprechaun movies with a certain sense of you're just going to have to take it as it is and have fun with it because it's not. You try to make too much sense, it's just not going to happen.
You're just gonna end up tearing your hair out like I did. See, that's why I've got so few of it. So little of it. Um, we notice also that this movie is a victim of a slightly lower budget than maybe some of the others. Four, we saw it a lot too with the computer effects that they used, but any sort of CGI in this movie is really chunky, pixely, like it really looks pretty bad. And that's just unfortunate that they couldn't continue to get decent funding with these movies.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
it's. I think it maybe it's just the way I saw it, but this one looked like it had more of a budget than the last one. It just looked
Oh, maybe.
better. Maybe that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but so basically in this one, and also I hate this in the movie. Every character is annoying. Like
Yeah.
they seem to mistake on being annoying with being funny. Just every character is just like grown. Give me a break. Like all their jokes are just stupid. The characters are just annoying. But they basically, a couple of them go to this like psychic who warns them that you're going to come across some financial windfall, some sort of a lot of money, but don't accept it because it'll bring about evil and all this stuff. So they end up finding this like treasure chest, small treasure chest of gold that was left where the leprechaun was defeated by the priest.
Yeah.
The thing that doesn't make sense about it, which never happened before, is that they soon find out that this chest regenerates gold.
Yeah.
So every time you close it and open it, it'll be full of gold again. You can dump it out, close it, open it, it's full of gold again. So it can create an infinite amount of gold. If
Infinite
that's the
money
case,
hack, as the kids would say.
so so why does the leprechaun care if anyone has his gold? Because it used to be he had 100 pieces and he would count them, and if
Yeah.
even one was missing, he would go hunting for it. But now, if this thing can generate a bunch of gold, who cares if someone else has it for an hour or two and gets their own gold?
Yeah.
Just take the chest back and you could have it. So it doesn't make sense why he would be so pissed off that they took his gold. His gold would be made worthless because you can make an infinite amount.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Um, yeah. All the characters are annoying except for one, and the one who is the least reprehensible of the bunch is one of the few who gets killed in this movie. There aren't a whole lot of deaths.
Yeah,
It's got the most surviving main characters of any of the movies so far, definitely.
yeah, and they do. There's things here we've seen before. Like I think it's more original than the last one. I think maybe they just had more money to do the kills.
Hmm.
But the whole scene with the woman laying on the massage table, and then the
Yeah.
massage therapist leaves, and the leprechaun comes in, starts massaging her. I've seen that in so many movies, like from
Yeah.
comedies to horror. Um, it's just I can't think of a single one off the top of my head, but I know I've seen it a whole
Yeah.
lot of times, even recently. That's not a new scene.
But
Um,
did you see a small leprechaun running on a large woman's back?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, how would you not know? Like, how could you mistake a leprechaun like running on your back to a human being's hands? I don't, it's ridiculous. But honestly, it was still a fun scene, and that's the
Yeah.
thing with these movies, you could forgive a lot as long as they're just putting some effort into making it entertaining. But
Yeah.
sometimes they really test my patience. Just the characters are annoying, and this one it was just darker. Like they tried to make this one. It had some amusing, funny stuff,
Mm.
but it was mostly the characters talking. Like the stuff that was happening, it was more serious, more
Yeah.
horror, more dark.
The bong scene went on for way too long when the leprechaun discovered what it's like to smoke a bong, and it continued on, and there was some slapstick stuff with him getting stuck in a fridge and all that sort of thing, but they really drew that joke out too long.
Yeah, he gets high and he's walking around stoned and he's
Yeah.
in the kitchen and there's another guy in the kitchen who's like preparing a sandwich or something. And it's like a Three Stooges skit where the leprechaun's bumping into something and the other guy doesn't notice he's there and he'll open the fridge door and knock the leprechaun down
Mm.
and it's not that funny and it's yeah like
Because
yeah
he's got the munchies, you see. We
yeah
get our one of our main characters, who's set up to be one of the heroes of this movie, is definitely not a hero. His name is Rory. He was a bad boyfriend and a drug dealer, and he just gets worse as the movie goes on. But for some reason, he's set up as the main. I guess the hero is the girl Emily. The name's Emily, right? Yeah, Emily. I kept getting confused, thinking it was Erica, but it was Emily. Um, Emily's ex-boyfriend, and he just sucked. And they set him up to be the big hero of the movie, and he was terrible.
yeah. I don't know if they were trying to make him some kind of like anti-hero or make some statement about him trying to redeem himself or something, but
Mm.
yeah, he wasn't a good guy.
It was funny how quickly these guys had really high hopes and moral ways that they were going to spend this gold. And then the very next scene, they were just all being pieces of shit with the money that they had. Like going for spending sprees on Rodeo Drive, and Rory became he didn't just he graduated from being a regular drug dealer to being a super drug dealer. And the Jamie guy, who the comic relief of the movie, um, ended up buying just all of the marijuana that you could possibly buy. This guy. He was pretty
But
funny though.
really, you figure if you just have like an infinite amount of gold, like, and also wouldn't, not to really push how ridiculous that is, but how do you buy things with just a ton of gold? Like
Yeah,
you have to exchange that into. You can't just go to a Best Buy with
yeah.
like a sack of gold. Like you have to exchange that for dollars. Like it's a it's really hard to believe, but they can really do anything they want. So
Mhm.
what they choose to spend their money on, if they have an infinite amount, like it doesn't make sense when you put it up to scrutiny.
You got to think too, if they go to the same pawn shop over and over and over again to trade these coins in, this guy's going to see how many of them there are, and the price is going to start going down and
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
right? One person does make a gold tooth out of one of the gold coins, which can very conveniently gets ripped out of her mouth later. But she's a
yeah,
side character, and she's not cool anyway. She's terrible, but they're all kind of terrible, really. But
yeah.
yeah, the kills are a lot gnarlier in this one for sure,
Yeah,
like you
I
were
think they
saying.
had a bit more. They weren't the last one. They had to kind of have some off camera. They really got it cheaped out. That's
Yeah.
why I think this one might have had a bit more money, just
Okay.
because there were they put more effort into it. They're a bit more gory.
And the rapper that they chose for this one probably didn't have as high of a price tag as Ice-T did.
Who
So
was
they
it?
had it was one of the members of Watson's gang, of the gang of bad guys, the gang of gangbangers, was Sticky Fingers from Onyx.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Those
don't
guys
even
who
know who
did
that is. So
Slam, do 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 do. Those guys. He's one of them.
oh,
Him
okay.
and his brother were acting in things in the 2000s.
Yeah, if I've never heard of him, then he's probably not part of popular culture enough to. have a huge price tag.
Right. So we were able to spend more money on the kills because he
Yeah,
cost a lot less. Very conveniently, in some of the weed that Jesse buys, there's some four-leaf clover in it. So put
yeah,
that in your memory banks for later.
yeah. I think that's a bit of foreshadowing there,
Yeah.
a bit of very obvious foreshadowing. But that does bring up one of my favorite parts of this movie is the whole ending. I thought was very good.
Yeah.
They they figure out they're going to put these four-leaf clovers into the bullets and then shoot the leprechaun with it. And there's quite a big scene. They're fighting on a rooftop. They shoot him, but then like the gun jams, and
Yeah.
then Emily ends up luring the leprechaun into the furnace room, where she throws his gold into the furnace and then kicks him inside, lock him, and he burns.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the end of it, but no, he comes back. I guess the only reason I thought possibly it wasn't the ending is because they foreshadowed the wet concrete at the bottom of the building, and I'm like,
Oh.
he's gonna fall into the wet concrete.
I didn't even notice them foreshadowing that. Oh, I should have.
So when they threw him into the furnace, I thought, okay, maybe it's done, but I'm like, I bet you he might come back. So,
And then-
and of course he did, but so there was some twists and turns there that he just reappears and they fight him again. They really put some effort into that final scene. I thought it was pretty good, for a
It's
leprechaun.
on the rainbow at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a step up from the last one. That
And
is
this was the last one to feature Warwick Davis.
Yeah, it sure was. And he didn't do any rhyming in this one. There was no rhymes.
Yeah, yeah. He was more. I think they tried to take him more seriously in this one, which I think is a mistake because part of his fun is just hearing him say his funny little rhyming things.
Yeah, he had some really serious dramatic deliveries too in the speeches between him and Emily. Like he said some he got to exercise his dramatic chops.
Yeah,
hmm So what did you think of this one overall?
I can't remember what I scored Leprechaun in the Hood, but I'd give this one like a 6, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? I'm of the same mind. I gave Leprechaun in the Hood 4, but I give this one a 6. I think this
Yeah.
one was a lot better. Still not perfect, but a lot better than the last one. And he miles and miles ahead of the next one that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
we'll
God.
when we get there.
All right, folks, that brings us to the end of our discussion of Leprechaun Back to the Hood, THA. I hope that you'll join us next time for Leprechaun Origins, which is a train wreck, so you can hear us make fun of it for 15 to 20 minutes. We'll see how long it goes. Remember that you can subscribe to both of us by clicking the subscribe button at the bottom of this video. You can subscribe to us both at the same time there. They appear right on top of each other. It takes just a couple seconds. You can subscribe to as many people as you want, and it doesn't cost you any money at all. And then you'll get notifications when we put out new videos about film analysis that we do and the other bullshit that we get up to on our channels. So please join us next time, everyone. Bye. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3-Minute Horror Show. I'm joined for another Leprechaun film analysis episode with Brandon from the Brandon vs. Movies YouTube channel. We do lots of film analysis together. We're almost done this series, and then we're going to figure out something new to do. On Brandon's channel, we're just finishing up with the Evil Deads. So take a look at both of our channels. And today we're going to talk about Leprechaun Origins from 2014. And I'll tell you, as soon as this movie started, I saw that it was a WWE Productions movie, and I thought to myself, oh dear, I don't think I've ever seen a good WWE Productions movie. Maybe that one with The Rock, Running Scared. Was it called Running Scared? Or The Rundown? The Rundown with The Rock.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
and
one.
Stifler. That one was all right. But, oh my, man, I have seen some really bad ones. I've seen See No Evil with Kane. I've seen, I can't think of the other one right now, but the guy who's playing Frankenfurter on Broadway right now, Luke Evans, he was in one with a wrestler that I've never even heard of who was in it for like 3 minutes. Oh boy, but these are bad. So, Brandon, why don't you get us started?
I'll get the compliments out of the way. This one is better than I was expecting. I heard all the for years. This is the first time I saw it, and I heard all the bad stuff. So the bar was as low as it possibly could be, and I don't think it was as horrible as people make it out to be. However, This movie has no business being called Leprechaun.
Right.
It has absolutely nothing to do with Leprechaun. It just seems like it's a generic monster movie that we've seen a million times, and it seems like they made the movie and they're like, hey, why don't we just call it Leprechaun and just maybe just shoot a couple scenes that kind of have something to do with gold, even though it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And bam, it's a Leprechaun movie called Leprechaun Origins, which is going to make people think that it's going to explain where our beloved Leprechaun came from, but it has absolutely nothing to do with that. So why is it called Origins? Even on the IMDb, the first their little log line there, the first sentence is like it's something. It has nothing to do with previous Leprechaun films. Yeah. So why is it called Leprechaun Origins? It's the creature does not look like a leprechaun, other than just being in Ireland or being Irish.
Yeah.
Like there's certain things it has, like short stature, a green costume, pot of gold, the rainbow, like just things that are part of Leprechaun lore. This guy, he looked like a cross between Pumpkinhead and one of the creatures from The Descent.
Exactly.
Like it was just some random monster, and it had nothing to do with anything to do with leprechauns.
Yeah.
And the movie itself was fine. Like you're just watching a crappy Netflix horror monster movie. This is kind of run of the mill. I don't think it was much worse than other bullshit I've seen. It just pissed me off that they basically tried to trick everyone into thinking it's a Leprechaun movie.
Exactly. And the argument that I've had with people is that when I've said that it's not a Leprechaun movie, I don't mean that it's not a Leprechaun movie in this series of Leprechaun. I mean that, like you said, it's not a Leprechaun at all, in any sense of the word. They could have picked any name for this monster. It could have been Rawhead Rex Jr. It could have been Chupacabra. It could have been anything. Because this is not a leprechaun, other than the fact that it can sniff out gold. That's the only thing. And that, for whatever reason, when it sees people, it sees them with a gold hue. And explain that shit to me, because it's not seeing heat. It's not seeing, like, infrared. It's just seeing people as gold, with, like, a gold aura. What is that about?
Yeah, it's like Predator vision, but shitty.
Yeah, the predator vision at least was infrared, like it was heat. He was seeing heat signatures. He's not even seeing any of that here. It's just it's just people have gold around them, and it's not concentrated in hot areas or anything like that. It's just I don't get it. But I really hope that they called it gold vision on the set, because that would have been funny. This Hornswoggle character who's in this movie, the wrestler, played an actual leprechaun in the WWE. He has more experience playing a leprechaun, he's got experience playing a leprechaun. Let him be a leprechaun in this movie. He's not a leprechaun. First of all, I'd be pissed if I was him, because he didn't get to say one line. You see him for maybe 2 or 3 seconds at a time throughout the whole movie. All of the action sequences, I think, were sped up at 2 times, because the people were moving too fast. And the movie was really, really dark, too. It had a lot of problems. Like, yes, I've watched a lot of bullshit, but this movie had a lot of problems.
They, especially in the first attack, when the, quote, leprechaun attacks them when they're in the... Basically, they get lured to this cabin under the pretense that they're going to go explore some historic site or whatever.
Yeah.
Only to find out, oh, shit, we've been locked inside this cabin.
Yeah.
And there's a secret entrance to it that the leprechaun comes in and attacks them. And I know there are a lot of horror movies where they don't want to show the full evil creature right away.
Yeah.
You want to, like, at first you don't see him. But it got to the point where I think they just couldn't show him, because he probably looked so shitty that they couldn't keep the camera on him for more than 1 second. So you never see him. All you see is really fast action, a whole lot of camera cuts, and whipping camera, moving things. You see motion that something's there, but you can't actually see him. And it gets really, really annoying. Towards the end, you see him more, but you still never get a good look at him. Like they don't just show him for like 3 seconds. It's still just like little bits here and there. So it's never satisfying. And they'll use the gold vision you mentioned, just kind of a way to cheat you into thinking that excitement's going on, but you're not actually seeing the monster. Like eventually, I just want to see him. And yeah, I've seen worse, and it wasn't as bad as I think people made it out to be, but it was just generic. And it's like, I'm never going to watch it again. I'll probably watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood again at some point in my life. I'm never going to watch this one again, because Leprechaun doesn't talk, and none of the story makes sense.
No,
Like the thing is, like not to ruin the ending, but you've either seen this
you can
before
go ahead and
or
ruin
you
it.
can
It
watch it.
sucks.
But basically, he doesn't have magical powers. He's just a monster kind of
Yeah,
thing. And in the end, he gets killed like with a machete to the head,
yeah,
which means you could just kill him. So these people in the town that have to sacrifice innocent people to this thing, why don't they just kill it? They even have guns at one point and they're like shooting at him.
hmm
Why don't they just like call a fish and wildlife department? They'd probably just come out and kill the thing or capture it, or just get a bunch of guys together and shoot it. Why are they sacrificing innocent people to this thing? I could see if it had magical powers, it was
yeah.
indestructible, but it's not.
It's
It's
just
just like an
fast.
animal.
It's fast
So
and strong.
yeah, so I don't get why they don't
Well, they
kill it.
might have killed them over time because at the end there's like eight more that you can hear coming out of the woods. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe okay. I don't want
it
to
might
give it
not have been
credit,
the same one the whole time. It might have been there's a whole race of those things somewhere.
but
But
still,
yeah, it's still dumb. People, I'll tell you one thing. It's easy to say in retrospect when watching a horror movie, but one thing that you'll never catch me doing is number one, going away with some strange Irishman. Number two is the strange Irishman when he leads you to the hut that you're supposed to stay in, and the only lock is from the outside, and it's like a padlock that goes on the outside of the door. I'm not going in there. Are you kidding
yeah.
me? And
And of
it's
course, he drove them out there, so like they don't even have a vehicle. They're in the
yeah,
middle of a strange country where they don't know anyone, with no way to get home.
yeah.
Staying at some place like that doesn't sound fishy.
And the other thing is, how did they only realize that they were locked in the middle of the night? Didn't they, one of them have to go pee or anything beforehand? Because the washroom's outside.
Yeah, I guess they just never had to pee the entire night until yeah.
And they were
Yeah, there's
drinking too.
and also I don't get what the motivation of the leprechaun is.
Yeah,
Like in the series so far, he wants his gold back, and if you take his gold, he'll kill you or anyone that gets in his way.
yeah.
Now,
He's
like
hungry.
there's a part where he'll like rip someone's gold earring out or something like that, or
Yeah.
their tooth. But he doesn't seem to be that care about gold, and he doesn't eat the people, so it's not like he needs to feed. He
Well,
just
they were
wants to
talking through the
kill.
whole thing like he needed to feed, like he was hungry. But you'd think that if that was the case, after he ate whatever amount of people he needed to eat, he'd leave. But he just kept going.
And he doesn't really eat them like
Yeah,
he'll rip them open, but you don't really see him like eating. Like he could just kill one person and eat them, but
yeah,
he'll like eviscerate someone, rip their spine out, but then just like take off.
yeah.
So, and if he just
It's
wants to
weird.
eat, why does he have to eat people? Why can't he eat other animals in the
Yeah,
area? It's
it's
just like,
weird.
oh, they have to sacrifice people to the leprechaun in order that they can keep the gold that they stole. It just seems like they worked that angle in after
Yeah.
the script was written or even after the movie was made, and then they just paid to have the name Leprechaun slapped on it so they could trick Leprechaun fans into watching it.
And this one is definitely a Canadian production, and you can tell because of two people in it. One of them is Brendan Fletcher, who's in all sorts of Canadian productions. He was in Freddy versus Jason. He was in
Okay,
Green
yeah, I
Room.
recognize that.
Yeah, he's in all sorts of stuff. That
I didn't
guy.
know it was a Canadian movie.
Yeah, well, it was Canadian made, like it was
Oh,
filmed in Canada,
oh
and
okay.
a lot of the staff are Canadian. The director, I believe, is Canadian too. And Melissa Roxburgh from Manifest is also in it, and she was Brendan Fletcher's girlfriend in the movie. So she's a big Canadian
Oh,
TV
okay.
star. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say this movie has like it's. I get it that it has a small cast. They were trying to keep things simple, but there was a lot. Like you said, it was very dark. There was a lot of like they're in the cabin and then they run out to the woods and then they go to some other house next door, but
Yeah.
then they go back to the cabin again. It's like they had two locations and woods, so everything's like house, woods, other house, woods, other house, woods, original house, woods. They were just kind of running around that same
Yeah.
area. And there
The
was a
way,
part where they hop in the car, they're gonna get saved by some old lady who pulls up. And as soon as it's like, okay, I've seen this scene before a million times. It's gonna turn out she's one of the bad people,
100
and which
different
she
movies.
is.
Yeah.
And then they're tied to a tree, and then but then they escape again. And
Yeah.
it was just a like it was yeah, it was just a very generic movie. There were like parts of it where I was like, this is okay. Like if this is just, sitting around having beer with someone watching a crappy horror movie, there is kind of some entertainment value, but
Mm.
kind of it's just it mainly made me mad that they cheaped out on us
Yeah.
and like called Leprechaun. It could have been called anything. Like the thing looks like more like a chupacabra. Like it just
Yeah.
looks like a some creature. Like this could have been called the Descent 3, and I'd be like, okay, that kind of makes more. Like even that seems more
Yeah.
realistic than Leprechaun.
When it started off, I thought that the leprechaun must have access to some sort of hellhound or something like that, like some sort of creature that he was sending after these people. Not that that was the leprechaun the whole time. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah. In the opening, they have like the cold opening scene
Yeah.
where he's chasing people, and it's like that's the like. What does this have to do with leprechauns? I don't get
Yeah.
it. And also when the old man, the old Irish man, when he first leads the people into the house and locks them in, he
Yeah.
hangs his gold watch on a nail by the front door,
Yeah.
like it's going to lure the people or leprechaun to come and find the people. But the thing is, they just finished shooting at the leprechaun while it was there, so obviously he knows they're there. And isn't he already attracted by the fact that the people are there to begin with? Why does he have to lure the gold? And they have a scene with the gold vision as the leprechaun comes up and steals the watch. So it's like, what? It doesn't even make sense within its own story.
And what does he do with it? He doesn't have any pockets or anything.
Yeah, like we don't see, does he have like a cave where he hoards it or something? And
Speaking of caves, they were talking about all these ancient stones in a cave, and the leprechauns came from the caves that were from the mines. I thought we were going to go in there at some point. That would have been cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't. All you see is like there's like a little monolith thing that has a symbol on it,
Yeah.
and I don't even get that. Like that was supposed to keep the leprechaun at bay,
Yeah.
but there's only one of them. So like, how does like I can see if there's one on all sides,
So
but
weird.
but if it does keep them at bay, why are you worried about him coming to the town and killing people?
Yeah.
Like if he's already isolated in this area, just stay away. Like I just don't get it.
There was only one cool part that kind of made me cringe, and that was when he pulled the leprechaun or the leprechaun pulled the gold tongue stud out of Melissa Roxburgh's mouth and kind of made her one of those snake people, like
Yeah,
people with the tongues like that. Very gross.
the
I just
one part I thought was quite shocking and kind of cool was when there's just the three of them left, and their plan is like they're gonna wait by the fireplace, which is where the secret door is. Leprechaun comes in from,
yeah,
and one of the women is like hiding outside to push the leprechaun through, and then they're gonna whack him with an axe.
yeah.
But instead, the leprechaun grabs the woman,
Oh
shoves
yeah,
her through the fireplace, and then the dude just whacks her in the face with the axe, and it's kind of gruesome. I was like, wow, that was kind of cool and
yeah.
surprising.
Poor lady too, because that was the one that just had her tongue split too.
You get the face split open with an axe.
Ah, by her friend. Don't worry, that guy didn't make it, so
Yeah.
he won't have to live with that guilt for much longer.
And then yeah, and then at the end, yeah, it ends with the lone survivor running away, and then you hear noise, which, like Ben said, sounds like a whole bunch of
Yeah.
leprechauns running after her. So yeah,
I wonder what's going to happen with this too. I mean, in this particular universe, not that anyone cares, but what's going to happen after this? Because all four of those kids were like Ivy League students. One was going to Harvard. One is a doctor. They're all very fancy, well-to-do people that are probably going to be searched for when this is all done.
yeah, it kind of comes back to that same issue I had with Hostel.
Hmm.
It's like how many thousands of people are going to travel to this specific place and die, never be seen again, before someone's like, hey, wait a minute. It seems like whenever tourists go to this part of Ireland, they vanish.
Yeah,
Like it's like someone's gonna come sniffing around, like you know, this
and
kind
it's
of thing.
not
It could happen like once, maybe twice before people would pick up on it.
and it's not like hippies going from one music festival to the next. The people who are going to this place are probably pretty wealthy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they're gonna. Yeah, it just the story doesn't make sense. Yeah, it if honestly if they had to just dropped the
Yeah.
whole Leprechaun title, called it something else, got rid of the gold side of the story,
Yeah.
and just had it that hey, it's just a monster that lurks around in this place. Okay, I would give it a higher score because it was like okay, this is a run of the mill horror movie, good job guys, kind of thing. But just the fact that they didn't even they could have called it like the Irish Leprechaun. Yeah, I'm trying to make a title up in my head, but
The
they
Irish
could have
Chupacabra.
they could have well, they could have even called it Leprechaun if they wanted to, but not have it related to the Leprechaun series as we know it. Because the word leprechaun isn't copyrighted. It's not their
Yeah.
trademark.
I still would have been
They
annoyed though, because it's not a leprechaun by
It's
any sense
not,
of the word.
but they did it knowing that
Oh
they
yeah.
would just capture the fan base of that movie, and that's why they called it Origins. Because I went
Yeah.
into it expecting this is going to be how the Leprechaun came about, and it is not even close. Like not
That
even at all.
it's double dirty when you think about it, because the fact that they also cast the guy who plays Hornswoggle, who is a leprechaun in the WWE, as the leprechaun makes you think that you're going to a leprechaun movie too.
Yeah, like fans of
Yeah.
that of WWE would go in there expecting
Yeah.
to see that character,
Yeah.
and then it's not. It's him in heavy makeup in something that doesn't look like a leprechaun.
Yeah. Poor guy. Didn't even get to say a word.
Yeah.
I hope he got paid.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the thing about the series is its comedy angle. It's the
Hmm.
Leprechaun acting funny, saying funny things, and being
Yeah.
amusing. That's why the movies are so popular.
Yep.
And this
Yeah.
one is like, you know what? And it's okay. And we forgive the other ones for being kind of bad movies sometimes because they're so entertaining. It's part of
Yeah.
their charm. Now it's a bad movie, but with no funny stuff or entertaining
Yeah.
stuff. It's just a
It's
bad movie.
just cynical. It's a cynical cash grab.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is your score about for this one? I'm betting it's going to be low.
I'd give it a 4. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's like that's I think better than most people would give it. But
Yeah, well, I gave it a 2 because I was really pissed off when I watched it.
yeah.
I was posting through it on Facebook, friends. Oh boy. All right. So, you have any closing thoughts of this one? I think we pretty much beat this
Yeah, I
dead
said
horse.
like I put off watching it for
Yeah.
years because I heard how bad it was. I think that's the only reason it seemed a little bit better is that like went in there expecting to hate it a lot more, and I'm like, okay, this is not so bad, but it still is. Um, yeah, it's just not that entertaining. It's the
Mhm.
kind of movie. It's like, okay, I watch it once, okay, whatever, it's gone. The other ones, like they have some charm to it that you want to watch it more than once. Not this one.
No, I agree. 100%. It's the first time I had seen it too. It's the first time I had seen Back to the Hood, and the first time that I've seen the one that comes after this one as well. So,
Oh,
yeah. All right, friends. Why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen? You can subscribe to both of our channels at the same time. Doesn't cost you a penny. You can subscribe to as many people as you want, too. This brings us to the close of our discussion of Leprechaun Origins. We were not impressed. If you were impressed by the movie, please let us know in the comments and let your voice be heard. Please defend this movie. Defend it with all of your might and honor. And we'll see you next time for another. We're going to discuss Leprechaun Returns. That's the final Leprechaun one. All right. So join us next time. See you later. Bye. Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the 3 Minute Horror Show. Once again, I am joined by Brandon from the Brandon vs. Movies YouTube channel, and we're going to do some more film analysis. Today, we are on the final episode of our Leprechaun series. We're discussing Leprechaun Returns from 2018. It is, you know what? Going into this one, I was like, I don't know, because you see that splash screen come up that says it's a sci-fi original, and I don't know if you've watched the reviews on my channel. I've done a lot of crappy sci-fi movies. They're real. Some of them are really bad. But then this one was directed by Steve Kostanski from Astron 6, the same guy who did Manborg and Frankie Frico and the new Deathstalker movie.
and
Kind of,
Psycho Gorman, right?
yeah, Psycho
Or
Gorman too. It's kind of unbelievable when you think about it, but I didn't know that right away. So I figured that out a little bit later, and I'll tell you when we get to it. But Brandon, why don't you kick us off on Leprechaun Returns?
yeah, so this one, after the disaster that was Leprechaun Origins, this one did the whole thing, which usually I hate how they ignore previous installments of the series and they go back to a direct sequel to the original movie. That's what this one, pretty sure that's their intention with this one because it picks up with the same characters at the same location as part one, the Jennifer Aniston one. And this movie is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's I've seen lists that have this as the best one, and I can see it. I don't think it's my favorite. It's not even a major drawback, but it doesn't have Warwick Davis, and we've all come to love Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun. This new guy is really good.
Yeah.
He's just it's like having Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. Even if
Right.
it's good, it's a big piece of it. So it's kind of sad that he's not involved. But the movie itself is well done. Like it's kind of funny. It's entertaining. It has some gore, and it does pick up. We get to see Ozzy, the big fat dumb guy from the first movie.
Hmm.
Apparently, he still has the gold coin in his stomach after 25 years for some reason. But um, but basically, the leprechaun that we saw die in the well in the first movie is resurrected, and now a group of young women and their boyfriends arrive at this house because they're turning into some kind of like eco house where they live off the land with with no electricity, or it's
Yeah. All like an off
and
the grid thing.
like an off the grid type of thing. And the
Hmm.
leprechaun comes back from the well, and one of the main character is the daughter of Jennifer Aniston's character from the first movie,
Hmm.
and she grew up with her mom telling her these crazy stories about being attacked by a leprechaun, to the point where the mom had to be locked up in an institution. So now this daughter comes there to live with these girls and realizes, holy shit, my mom was right. There is a leprechaun here. And the leprechaun goes about his business of killing them all. And it's really good. The
Yeah.
first time I watched it, I I think I just went in there and just kind of jaded that it wasn't Warwick Davis, so I refused to
Um,
allow myself to like it.
yeah.
But then I watched it again, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I watched it a third time just a couple days ago, and I'm like, yeah, this is actually really good. Definitely among the best ones in the series.
It's the only direct sequel in the entire series. So it's the only one that actually ties back to a previous one, other than just in some sort of Easter egg or something like that. Like the between three and Leprechaun in the Hood, it's the same statue. Like that's more of an Easter egg kind of a connection. This one, it's a direct connection between the two. It is Ozzy, it is the guy who swallowed the coin, and it's the same actor who played him too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was really cool was that set, the house that they filmed this movie in, is the same house from the first movie, actual location wise.
Yeah. So I wondered that did someone just own that property? They just went back
I
decades
guess
later and
so.
asked, "Hey, can we shoot here again?"
Hmm. Yeah, maybe they bought it. Who knows? Maybe Steve Kostansky bought it because he loves Leprechaun. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the problem that I had with this movie wasn't the fact that it wasn't Warwick Davis. Um, the only reason why this didn't get a higher score with me, and it does get a high score. The only reason it doesn't get a higher one is because I found the script kind of annoying. I found all of the characters kind of annoying, and they spoke in one of those really dated ways. The terminologies that they used and the words, the phrases that they used dated this movie. So it feels old when you watch it, even though it was only, well, 2018 is now almost 10 years ago. But it feels older just because of the way that they talked and the things that they said, the way that they behaved. Um, that was the real sci-fi movie bit of it for me, was the performances and the script. But the rest of it, holy smokes! I mean, um, we've seen now a leprechaun burst out of someone's penis, and now in this movie we've seen a leprechaun burst out of Ozzy's stomach with the coin in hand. And when I saw the gore effects from that, I was like, holy shit, this is a sci-fi movie? I do with sci-fi movies all the time, and they're nothing like this. And that's when I looked up who the director was, and I was like, oh, it's the Astron 6 guy. And every kill in this movie is really gnarly. I mean, way more so than the last two movies for sure. I mean, maybe Origins, I'm not counting. I'm talking the actual mainline Leprechaun
Yeah.
movies. Um, and that is because Steve Kostansky and Astron 6 are masters of making really gnarly gore effects with a very low budget. So they're really good at it. And there's a kill that's pretty early on where a solar panel slides off of a roof and cuts a guy completely in half horizontally, and you see both halves of him, and it comes up again later when somebody falls in the half, and it was really cool.
Yeah, this one, I'd say like on like if you take the other ones had sporadic good kills in them or interesting ones. But I think overall, this one probably has just the best, like the most number in the same movie.
Yeah.
Like, I see what you mean about the way the script is written. I think they were constantly, at least in my mind, they were on that edge of taking it too far.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of modern movies are just so annoying. This one, it was towing that line. It was like testing the limit, but not quite um, going past it. So I could live with it. And they did have some things I like. I thought they were going to do the whole thing where someone knows the leprechaun's real and no one believes them. And they did that very briefly,
Yeah.
but then very quickly it's like, here's a picture of him. Holy shit, there he is. And it's like, it's like they knew that we were going to assume no one would believe them. Instead, they're just like, yeah, the leprechaun's just standing right there. So that was, I kind of like that. They kind of overdid the whole technology thing. And
Yeah.
that's what it's kind of what makes that movie dated, is that it's all about, hey, we have this drone and everything revolves around the drone. Hey, we have modern cell phones, smartphones. So a lot of the kills have to do with that, and they have multiple scenes of like, hey, taking a selfie with the leprechaun. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, like that technology, it's part of our lives now. We don't make a big deal of the fact that it's part of our lives. And then as years go by, all of a sudden it looks dated because that technology is, we're so used to it, we have even better things now.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones from 30 years ago, they kind of seem like they're newer, like they're not as dated because they're not like, look at my Commodore 64 computer. I'm going to look up. Like they don't do that, right? They just have the movie. So, but then again, it did give us a cool part where they're looking for the leprechaun with the drone, and then the drone's involved in a kill, and there's
Yeah.
another pretty cool kill that involves running through sprinklers, and
Yeah. Very
um,
cool.
yeah, there's a lot of good parts in this movie, and the characters were borderline annoying,
Yeah.
but I don't think they were as annoying as Back to the Hood or some of the other movies. This one, I think it was just a little better written,
Hmm.
and they were on the verge of going too far with it, but they did, at least in my mind.
I don't know if I've mentioned it on this channel before or in this series, but I used to watch that show Bones on Fox. It was like a crime procedural. But they were really, really bad for dating their show by explaining new technologies or really going on about things, making whole episodes about them. They made a whole episode about Twitter when they discovered Twitter. And it was like probably 8 years after Twitter had been around, but somebody in the writing staff had figured out Twitter. Oh, Twitter. And so everybody was tweeting and talking about their tweets. And it dates that episode. It makes it look, you watching it back now, you're like, oh my God. I mean, like, and look at what Twitter's become now, right? So, doing that sort of thing, completely basing your movie around that sort of technology it's a real problem. It's a real mistake. Any
Yeah,
of those unfriended or webcam related movies, you know what I'm talking about, like Unfriended or
yeah,
the Facebook related movies where you're looking at somebody's desktop the whole time and then, there's a monster on the webcam behind them. All of those are very silly to watch now because that technology is so old. Um, yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine as well. There were some really cool kills. I liked the sprinkler one that you were talking about. The drone one I thought was a bit silly. His drone ride was fun because the leprechaun rides the drone for a while like a helicopter. He thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. But he beheads a guy with the drone. And now the problem that I had with that kill is that that thing was coming on for a while. He could have ducked. Like he could have just moved his head down out of the way because it was
yeah.
slow. It was like in Austin Powers when you're seeing that scene where Dr. Evil is driving the steamroller and Will Ferrell's character is way back here saying no and like for a good 2 minutes before the thing finally squishes him. That guy could have got out of the way. Bad move. And he would have
um,
survived to see another day.
I think they made up for it though with there's a part where they blow up the leprechaun, and then he comes back as like a whole bunch of tiny leprechauns.
Yeah,
They had more technology, more money at this point to really kind of do creative stuff that they couldn't before. I thought that was pretty cool.
there were a couple of Evil Dead 2 nods in there. That was one of them. I can't remember what the other one was. I thought I wrote it down, but I
That'd be
didn't.
an Army of Darkness nod, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I meant Raimi in general, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. as
What was
some
the other
Sam
one?
Raimi stuff.
What was the other nod?
I can't remember. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. Oh my God. Ah, man. That was silly. I should have. But there's another new rule in this one, which is fool's gold. Because fool's gold will burn them.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But I think that it has something to do with the iron. Because it is iron pyrite, fool's gold. So,
Yeah, so maybe they did that in part two with the iron. But yeah, they seem to make up new rules all the time, or they
yeah.
bring back ones. They even brought. They didn't quite bring back the thing like, oh, if he sees a pair of shoes, he has to clean them. They didn't do that, but they did have the thing where he mentions a couple times about keep care of your shoes, and so they
Yeah.
kind of had that in there. They brought it back, but it wasn't a way to distract him. You couldn't just throw a pair of shoes and he'd go chase them while you run away.
No, it was a
Um,
way to make a Crocs joke. He was making a joke about Crocs.
oh, okay. That's not quite technology, but it's another thing that dates it. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, oh, kids these days in these Crocs. We got to make fun of
yeah,
that.
like 15 years from now, no one's going to know what the hell he's talking about.
Uh, yeah, I really also like the kill where the very annoying overachiever girl, she's the one who gets Army of Darkness. She's the one who gets all the little leprechauns coming after her and cutting her legs and all that sort of thing. And then they knock her down onto a this I think was the second Raimi nod, the way that things were moving around in the house, and one of the statues fell and then turned itself up so that she would land directly mouth on top of it, like
Yeah,
go through the back of her head.
yeah,
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but I really like this one.
yeah. It was. I'm glad that it ended. I mean, who knows? We might have another Leprechaun movie in the coming years. Who knows?
Yeah,
But if we never do, at least it ended on a high note because it would suck if it ended on Origins.
yeah.
It's like at least we ended. It's like the series redeemed itself by having a really cool movie.
Hmm. And if you really, really want to appreciate it, watch it directly after you watched Origins, like I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Be
It'll
like,
make it
oh,
seem a
this
lot
movie's
much better.
wonderful. Oh, I didn't mention it yet. The guy who did replace Warwick Davis in this movie, I agree with you. He is really good. I thought he was funny. He did all the rhymes. He was rhyming. His rhymes were funny. I thought he did a good job. He looked like a leprechaun. He looked
Yeah,
smaller than Warwick Davis, to be honest, too.
he did good. It's just it's hard because you have the other guy who's done 6 movies over the span of like 30 years,
Yeah,
and then you're the new guy who has one movie. Like it'd be hard for people to give him a chance, and
yeah,
people probably gave him shit, even though it's totally not his fault because he did a good job.
yeah,
But I bet you if he does 6 movies of his own, there's probably going to be a lot of people that would grow up with him and come to favor him
yeah.
because like he did a really good job too. So yeah, you
There's
can't
a
fault him for it.
there's a reason why Warwick Davis is the highest paid supporting actor in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
looked that up. He is. It's
yeah. I know.
crazy.
I was quite
Yeah,
surprised too.
yeah. All right. So, what do you rate this movie overall? Would you say?
I have to. I don't know. I might even give it an 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I give it a high 7, low 8 for sure. I'm gonna call it a 7 though because I don't
yeah,
typically do the point fives or anything like that.
yeah.
But I'm gonna give it a 7. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was good. A good cap to the series, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it sets the bar in a way. It sets the bar high for the next one, but it also shows that hey, if you're somewhat competent, you can make a good Leprechaun movie. So
Yeah.
if they do another one, hopefully they'll go this route instead of the Origins route.
There's a movie from Acrostar Productions coming out soon called The Legend of Tinker Hell, which isn't necessarily featuring a leprechaun, but it is featuring a fairy
Yeah,
who does kills in a leprechaun style. And I know the guy who I'm friends with the guy who does the effects for it, and I have a suspicion that it's going to be a really good competitor to the Leprechaun Crown. Now
yeah,
it's not going to be it's more of a competitor to Leprechaun the way it is now, not when it was theatrical, not when it was a big theater, multi-million dollar budget sort of thing. More of what you'd get along the lines of a Leprechaun movie now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it'll be fun. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the Leprechaun series, Leprechaun Returns. I hope you'll join us again for whatever it is that we choose to do next. I don't think we've decided yet, but it's going to
Yeah.
be cool no matter what we do. So come back then. Give us give us a subscribe. You can click the subscribe button at the bottom of the channel or at the bottom of the video. It brings up both of our channels. It takes a couple of seconds to do. It doesn't cost you a penny. It takes a couple of seconds. And if you do that, you will be notified when we do more cool stuff like this and the other things that we're up to. So please join us next time. Bye.
Bye.